quite a few individuals. One more, one more, one more. Gibbs is here. Okay, but yeah, we have a few others we're waiting on, so we'll just spend our time stalling for them.
Yo, all
Um, yeah.
right. There's no music. What's up?
I was gonna say thank you the other week. I was trying to say thank you for sending me to that Soul King Radio channel. That was
Yeah,
really good. I use it a lot actually.
dude. It's like it's something I just randomly put on in the living room. You
Mhm.
know what I mean? Just it's like, do I hear someone pissing?
I hear some flowing
I
water somewhere.
absolutely hear somebody pissing. Gibbs, are you pissing?
It's not me.
Uh,
Clearly.
Hold
I
on,
think
pause.
it's
I was in the army and I definitely knew some girls that had shiwis. All right,
No, I'm not one of them. No,
What's
but
it?
I
all
know
right,
what
so
you're
that they
talking
could piss
about.
out in the field. You know,
I know exactly what you're talking about.
You're gonna explain to us what a chewy is now, right?
it's just like
It's like a
a
funnel.
rubber device that like a funnel, basically
It's a pee
that
funnel
you
for
attach
women.
you attach around the labia majora. Right, we get
Okay.
all fucking technical. All right, and then you can piss. Okay, like standing up, and it's like if you're
Okay.
camping or if you're like if you're a female soldier in the field, right? Pretty
Hmm.
fucking helpful to be able to piss standing up instead of having,
Okay.
especially if you're out in like the
On
desert or
road
something,
trips.
can't find somewhere,
You
to like
can
bend
you
over.
can well, I mean, you can spread and like thrust, right? Like I've seen women do this. Where, like without any
Eh,
other devices, you
I
can
would say
piece.
not without
Somebody check this man's hard
intentionally
drive
getting
right
piss
now.
all over you. Yeah.
No, no, no. I've seen it. I've seen it. Now it depends.
Well,
It depends, I
talent.
guess, on what your um clothing are, right? Like if you have like restrictive
True.
pants, it's gonna be a big problem. Yeah.
Sounds like just a leaky pipe or something. I don't know. Something.
Be,
Some
being
bad
able
plumbing.
to being able to pee while standing up is such a big.
What's up?
We're talking about peeing while standing up, Gibbs.
Talking about
I,
cheese.
I was saying how being able to pee while standing up is like unironically such a big buff that men got at the beginning. Like you
So
Yeah.
guys,
convenient.
yeah,
Yeah.
you guys are screwed.
Yeah, but balanced out by having our reproductive glands just hanging like right there.
That's true.
Easy
But mine
target.
Not
tried
that
to
big of
kill
a
me
deal.
from the inside. So actually,
Mm.
Like here, what do you do
when
more?
it comes
Do
to
you kick the
infections and
balls?
shit? It's actually pretty great to have your shit on the outside.
yeah.
Right, like in the modern day, it's really annoying, right? But if you want to talk about like how often do men get UTIs, absent having sex with a woman with a UTI? Not that fucking often. Pretty
No, no,
rare,
no, no,
right?
no,
Like
no,
in
no.
terms of
That's
like
not because
there are a lot of
testicles outside.
advantages to have. Well, I'm just saying there's a lot of advantages to having your shit on the outside and being able to regulate with the weather, right? Like it's
Yeah,
just
and for
today with
instance,
modern clothes, modern medicine, modern
if you have a
conveniences, it's
medical
more
emergency and your testicles twist, that can most of the time be done without surgery. If that happens to an ovary, you will die in 24 hours from
Okay, I'll
sepsis.
give you that one. But the UTI thing, I mean, that's because the penis is like very well closed off, right? Like it's not exposed to well anything really, right? Like you got to really work to get stuff up there. But for vaginas, it's a
Maybe
little
yours
different.
isn't. Sorry, go on.
I feel like we're saying the
I
same
don't.
thing now.
I don't-
You know what I
no,
mean?
no, no.
Like
We're not saying
I
that.
feel like we're
We're not
saying the
saying
same thing.
No, 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 no. I'm saying the testicles should be inside, right? Like
Saying
that would
external
work.
genitalia makes it
Then we're not saying the same thing
Okay,
because
who's
I feel like we're
peeing?
saying the
the
same thing.
penis is.
That's a
We're
long
not
pee.
saying the same thing. Sorry, what?
You know what it is. You know what it is.
I
know
knew
what
I
it is.
was signing up for like a sausage fest, but I had no idea it was going to be a penis discussion the whole time.
Whoa, hold on.
It's going to be literal.
I think I know what this is.
Mm.
Real quick, Abers, do you have a fish tank in your background?
I do.
Mm.
Is that
So
what it
smart.
is? Is it the fish tank?
Yes. Yeah.
I do. I do have a fish tank. My catfish tank.
Okay. Cool. All right. Then
You have a catfish tank? Like,
Yes.
Scott's
Ew.
army training failed him.
Corridor
He was so
catfish, they're
sure
this
someone's
big.
peeing.
See
No,
if I
it was a
can't
joke.
fix it.
I didn't think anybody was peeing because I could see everybody at their desk.
Oh,
Just assume somebody was like filling up a water bottle or doing something weird.
That's a...
I've had really long peas.
Not that long. You should probably see a doctor.
This long, yeah, that's a problem.
4 a.m. sometimes. Okay, this is what it is.
Yeah.
I used
Or
to
like 5 in the morning.
That was one of my
there,
desires
yeah.
as a children was to be a long peer. Like I feel like it
A
made you a
long-
man. And plus, you didn't have a phase of kid like you ever heard like your dad pee or your older brother pee or something, and you're like, God, they pee a long time. Yeah.
Not so much of mine. You're frozen. I don't know what you did, Bam. You used to have
But he always freezes in like
I
the
know
most,
exactly what I did.
most-
I tried to
most
switch
flattering
to
way.
a Wi-Fi connection, and
Did you not switch back?
I don't have don't have an Ethernet cord long enough.
Oh my God! You
I
could have
have to
ordered
buy
one from Amazon. It's been like 3 weeks since you've been on.
I'm sorry, Prom. I'm sorry that people have other things to worry about besides Ethernet cords in this world. I'll work on it. I'll be
Okay, all right, that's fine.
Did the fish tank sounds go away?
Seems better.
Significantly less.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
So we're only waiting on 2 people, Doobie and Ali. Ali's going to be a while, so we're not going to wait for him. Okay, so
This is his
now
topic too. Ugh.
Yeah, that's true.
I'll
That
stick up
feels
my two.
racist. Like, I'm not opposed to racism in 2026 at
We
this
know
point,
that.
but like, it still feels racist to be like, this is his topic.
Scott.
Like,
Scott.
this is obviously
It
this is
got
of interest to the
racial
brownies.
very
You know what I mean? Like,
quickly.
Scott. Just look at him. Okay. I don't know why. Come on.
oh fuck. Oh, I love being a
Did
mutt
someone
sometimes.
just snort?
Just a little bit. Look, Ollie really cares about Israel. That's what I'm referring to. He really cares about Israel. I'm like, really cares. And this is about Israel, so I figured.
It absolutely is about Israel. Let's never forget
True.
that.
In Saudi Arabia.
That's also, yes.
Israel, like this is like this is how broken our culture is in 2026 compared to when I was growing up. Is that it was like when I was a kid, it was like, ooh, let's play 7 Degrees of Kevin Bacon, and then you like mention somebody, and then you can via relationships or movies, you would eventually get to Kevin Bacon. And now it feels like every conversation I have, regardless of where you are, is like 7 Degrees of Israel, where it's just like, ooh, NVIDIA, did you know that NVIDIA is connected with the Trump administration and Intel? And did you know that Intel is building a chip foundry in fucking Israel? 2 degrees. And you're like, oh my fucking God, dude. Like, this is a Wendy's. You know what I mean? Like,
Like, I just like the camera. Don't.
Oh, wait. Selling the red heifers to Israel?
it's like, just tell them that no
Yeah,
matter,
like
just tell them no matter who they, listen, just tell them no matter which football you buy, you're going to pay taxes, sales tax on it. And that tax money is eventually going to end up in Israel. So don't worry about it. Buy whatever football you want to buy because you're not fucking stopping it, buddy.
Okay.
Could you say that word clearly though? Because like you have a lot of rasp and you mumble a lot, and you always have the mic of someone that just started streaming like today. Right. So could you say the word with diction so that I know what it is that you're saying?
Much better. Perfect.
Or use that whiteboard. Muted.
Let's keep this for the next 3 hours.
Oh, not the whiteboard. No.
Yeah, this is much better.
The whiteboard. Let's go.
Definitely gonna clearly communicate now.
Is this pictographs now? Is this in fucking Egypt?
Yeah. Right. And Gibbs usually only brings out the whiteboard when he's like really pissed at me. We really cannot hear you, Fred. But
Is this whole headset off? You just can't hear anything at all.
yeah, we really can't hear you. I'm not sure if you're aware of that. You've been like for the last minute, right before the whiteboard came out.
That microphone is like not on. Like we haven't heard anything. You were like, watch this, and then you switched to a mic that is not producing any audio. Nope, not now.
Okay, sorry, friend.
You may think that I heard you say now, but I'm lip reading because I'm so used to having to lip read because of your poor audio quality. Despite being rich.
Fired.
Yeah.
Like you have money. Like
there you go. Yeah.
We hear you. We hear you. Yeah. Now that you're back on the shit mic.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, so you're
Okay.
telling that kind of wrong. But there were 5 shipped off to Israel in 2022. And the reason they need the red heifers is they have to be completely unblemished red heifers, and they can sacrifice one, and then they can usher in the building of the third temple. But they can't build the third temple without sacrificing an unblemished red heifer. The 5 that were sent apparently were blemished in some way, shape, or form, and that was in 2022. And they came from like around the corner from where I live, which is why I know so much about it.
Okay.
I want you guys to know, just real quick, that story sounds crazy, but I want you to understand, to us atheists, that's how you sound when you talk
All
about
the time.
Jesus. I need you to understand that those stories sound exactly the same to us. When you're like, the red heifer cows to usher in the apocalypse is the exact same story when grandma is like, one day Jesus will come and you will be judged. Like, I need you to know that those stories are the same to us.
The way Gibbs told it absolutely makes it sound that way for sure. Like they're gonna usher in the apocalypse.
Yeah, hon. It's blood magic either way, right? Like sacrificing the cow or that Jesus died for the sins, right? Like it's literally blood magic, one or the other. I think Bam is still working on it. Bam, we can't see your camera at all. If
He's ordering that cable right now.
Yeah, guys.
1 hour shipping.
Yeah. So FYI, Bam, if you can hear me,
he's gonna be in his car, like I'm driving to Best Buy, like on a phone camera, like.
Yeah.
Might be a better connection.
Yeah. Okay. So
I don't understand why my camera's so bad on the stream and so good everywhere.
That's fine. No worries. Right. But okay. So why don't we get started? This is probably going to be a long one.
Oh, we're getting right into it. All right.
Yeah. Let's do it.
I feel like I'm in the wrong place, or I think Scott's usually where I am.
Did I? I guess I did.
Someone said, so I gotta mention this, even though it's terrible. Someone in my chat said, "Nah, Bam's going to the store for milk."
Yeah, I know. I saw him backstage. So okay. Again, yeah, Bam. Your camera is not on. I can see that your camera's not on, or it's not showing up any which way. So hopefully he'll.
That's true. Okay.
Okay. All right. So anyway, hello.
How's this microphone? I'm sorry.
No, it's a different camera. Okay. Well, all right. Watch. He's going to put this on. All right. Can't. So Bam. Obviously, we can't see you. Like I said, like this is just a blank screen.
No, he's more black than usual.
You're more black than usual. Yeah. See, I told you.
Wait, you can't see me?
No, we cannot see you.
I'm
period.
looking at you, looking at me. You can't see me right now. I'm
No,
invisible.
we
I'm
cannot
John
see you.
Cena. Me and John Cena.
Yes.
That's crazy.
We can't see you.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I'll work on it. I don't know what to do, but I'm looking
Speaking
at
of
you.
which, I'm missing Raw tonight for you guys, so y'all
Yeah, I
just keep
appreciate.
that in mind.
Understood.
Is that
You guys
Tuesday?
We're missing
Bam?
what?
WWE
I'm missing
Raw,
Raw.
bro.
WWE Raw. Yeah.
Monday
Bam.
Night
All right,
Raw.
so I feel like I don't really
Does
need to
it do
ask what
anything?
her political affiliation is now.
That did
I feel like we
absolutely
kind of
nothing.
got that figured out real quick.
And apparently, a lot of progressive WWE fans. I'm hearing. But
You'd
anyway,
be surprised.
yeah.
You're hearing
yeah,
because they're not in your fucking circles.
Bam. Fair. Bam. Yeah, we still can't see you. So we're working on. It's like there's probably a video signal because this isn't what it looks like when the camera is like off. But for whatever reason, it's just not showing up.
Okay.
So.
Don't work on it.
So.
I'll be quiet.
All right. Well, we'll just get to it. Hello, all. Thanks for being here. This is our roundtable, which we have Mondays, 8 p.m. Eastern. All right. We've got a great group of guys here and more on the way. So we're excited to talk about this topic. I'm sure it'll be really easy and we'll be super calm about the whole thing. But yeah. Consider supporting the channel. Follow the channel if you haven't done so already. Follow us on YouTube, Twitch, or Kick. Right, and those are fine choices. If you are on Twitch, consider subbing to the channel, getting ad reviewing, supporting this community, getting our emotes. Also, if you are on YouTube, consider using a super chat. Put your super chat on screen, right? And we'll discuss it. It'll be a lot of fun. Maybe keeping this place alive. So thanks so much to anyone who does. Okay. And Frozen Knight, thank you for resubbing for 48 months. Hey, it's really kind of you. Been here for a long time. 4 years, Frozen Knight. Shout out to you for being around for so long. Much appreciated. Okay, so let's get started. All right, the topic. Israel and the U.S. have launched a war against Iran. This comes after months of threats against the Middle East nation and limited strikes that occurred last year. Trump has explicitly named this as a regime war, a regime change war, with the excuse that Iran was still aiming for a nuclear weapon. Are you in favor of this war? Do you find the justifications to be convincing? Do you think it's worth the sacrifice of American lives? Do you think it's worth the money? Or is this another American military adventure that will only end in tragedy? So yeah, new war kicked off. And this, I believe the first bombs fell on Saturday. My understanding is that at least on the first day that Americans struck and combination of Israel struck 1,000 targets across Iran. They killed, I think, within the first strikes, killed the leader of Iran, Ayatollah Khamenei, along with like basically his cabinet. They had like a regular meeting on Saturday, and they took that as opportunity and they immediately struck. And it sounds like they were completely successful in that. They struck all kinds of other targets, right? Including missile launchers and something I was hearing only just recently because no one else is reporting it. But like we're attacking the Navy. So their boats, they sunk a bunch of Iranian boats. And in response, Iran has been launching missiles and drones across the Middle East, primarily towards Israel, but also other Middle East nations, specifically the ones who are hosting American military bases and allowing attacks from their base into Iran. So there's that. This comes after, so there was negotiations between the U.S. and Iran that were occurring, and there was a quote unquote breakthrough. Oh, it's so funny. We'll get to that. But in any case, right? The Iranians offered to end a nuclear stockpiling, right, of enriched uranium, and the stockpiling, which would have gone farther than the Iran nuclear deal that Obama had negotiated. That was a much farther concession, and also to have their uh, uh, situation be monitored, right, by like the International Atomic Agency would go into monitor their facilities. So this would have been a massive concession. This is delivered by the Omani foreign minister. They said that, but despite that, soon after the bombs started falling, and now we're here. There's also dead Americans already. Uh, a few, I guess they were struck by Iran's missiles or drones, but only a handful of dead Americans and a fuck ton of dead Iranians. A school was hit, and the death toll is huge. They're still digging out the bodies. A bunch of 11, 9, 10, 11-year olds, my understanding. The death toll is over 150, along with teachers, and other places too. A lot of citizens are dead. So that's the situation we find ourselves in. So I want to discuss this. Discuss. Do you think this is a good idea? Bad idea? Great idea? Is it the only patriotic thing to do is to support it? I wonder. So let's get started with our friend Lactoid.
Yeah, can you hear me okay? Am I coming through okay?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yep.
Alrighty. So, I've long held this theory of mine that the war is bad. Okay, not a good thing to do war. But it can be justified, but it can only be justified if the following two elements are met. The first element here is that there is a clear moral high ground or a clear moral position that is better. And two, that there is an efficient road to achieve said positive outcome. I think here you can make a strong argument for the first prong. I'm not sure if it's really met. I'm open to hearing arguments, and I think that the strongest point lies here, which is that Khomeini sucks. Sucked. Not a big fan. Not a big fan of the Iranian regime. Obviously, very authoritarian, theocratic. Does all sorts of fuck you shit when it comes to funding proxies. Death to America. Not good. Not a big fan. Not a big fan of the current Israeli government. I do think it is significantly better though than Iran's government. Where I think that this war fails is the second prong, which is that I have not seen a real argument or strong evidence that there is a efficient road here to a positive outcome in terms of the overall cost, not only in terms of the money, which I'm sure we've spent billions and billions thus far just on the strikes we've done, the human cost, which comes to hundreds dead, obviously a small percentage, but still some American servicemen and women, and the collateral damage of a bunch of apparently dead schoolgirls blown up. That sucks. That's not good. Widespread destruction. The closure of the Strait of Hormuz, which is cutting off a fifth of the world's oil supply, which is not like a small deal. That's going to jack up prices for everybody across the world and cause a whole bunch of tack-on effects that could lead to more death and more destruction and more poverty. And I'm not really seeing an actual set plan. It seems like we're just kind of flying by the seat of our pants, similar to Libya, which ended up in an anarchic state with slave markets. We had a little bit of a better plan with Syria in that we actually knew like the specific groups that we were supporting, which included al-Nusra, which was connected to some degree, obviously, not officially, but there was a lot of overlap between them and ISIS. And when they took over, they started massacring the Alawites. We'll talk about it in a second. I'm talking about al-Nusra, which is associated.
Al-Nusra was a faction off of Al-Qaeda.
Sure. So just as bad.
Yeah. They were opposed to ISIS.
Yup.
My bad. I didn't mean to interrupt you. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I apologize.
You're good. Afghanistan, which we put all this work into keeping the Taliban out. We set up the perfect government, the perfect democratic government, which we then subsequently lost, and the Taliban came back and took over again. And Iraq, which what did we accomplish with that other than handing Iran a semi-proxy, in which we destabilized Iraq, which has obviously contributed to the rise of ISIS and all the death and destruction associated with that, and put them under the, in large part, the political influence of Iran. So I'm not convinced that we have a particularly good track record recently when it comes to this. And until somebody explains to me what the plan is, other than just we're going to bomb the government and rise up and take your government, people, that's not good enough. You need to show me which specific groups are we supporting, what is their specific plan, and can they succeed? And that has not been done. So no, I am opposed to this war.
Thanks so much, friend. Let's go to our friend Scott.
I am I'm happy that I am in very close agreement with Lactoid on this. Obviously, as an ANCAP, I don't think the U.S. military is justified in any military operation, though I do think private security forces absolutely can be. But I want to set that aside, and I'm what I wrote down is actually pretty similar to to your position, Lactoid, which is, this situation has really been blackpilling for me because, I grew up. Some of us are, I think most of us here are like either younger millennials, maybe, right? But I grew up, remembering Iraq, Afghanistan, when we went there, mission accomplished. I remember those fun times. I remember when the Democrats did everything they could to attack Howard Dean, because he was the only candidate that was anti-war alongside Bernie Sanders. But Bernie Sanders had no chance of winning at the time, so they didn't really go after him. I remember all this, and I had at least some sliver of hope in the American people that regardless of whether or not we were like a peacenik or a neocon or a socialist or whatever, that we would at least recognize that if America is going to war, that we have limited resources and that we cannot wave a magic wand, and that at the very least there needed to be some goal, some mission, some plan, and that requires a certain level of trust from the people in order for that to work in a constitutional republic. Because without that trust, there is no re-election. There are referendums. We have a new seat of government that comes in during the midterms and fights against the state in the actions that they're doing, but the executive still kind of goes along with it. They just get defanged some way. And we end up, we're pretty bad at waging war in that way sometimes. We don't have the trust of the people. And I cannot imagine a president that the people trust less than Donald Trump, and throughout probably all of American presidency, to have a clear mission or goal. Because even MAGA will literally brag about the opposite. MAGA will literally tell you, like, when he says something that, like, ooh, just trust the plan behind the scenes, because actually that's not even the real plan. So nobody knows his plan, and MAGA openly admits this constantly, and in fact brag about the fact that you don't really know what's going on because he's got a super secret 5D chess plan that's going to get enacted. And so we have no transparency in this government. We know that they're covering up the Epstein files. We know that they're protecting billionaires instead of protecting victims like they said they would. We know that that this is it, that they're full of shit constantly, and that not even having a clear goal is apparently, as far as the right wing considered, one of Donald Trump's strong suits. And forgive me, that's not good enough to go bomb Iran, even if I was the type of person that believed that, the U.S. military, is justified in doing so. Setting that aside, I do think that this situation is way more complicated than Iraq and Afghanistan ever could have been, for a few reasons. First and foremost, we lied about Iraqis and people wanting American intervention. This is just not true of Iran. They want U.S. intervention. They absolutely want it. Like even at like the worst polling data that we've ever had, like something like 70%, I think, was like the lowest number of Iranians were against the Iranian regime, of Persians, including Iranians, were against the Iranian regime or the IRC. And And that's not like, oh, we want referendum, we want change. They wanted the collapse of that government. And during the women life freedom protests, this like went up to at least 81%, where an overwhelming majority of the Iranian or Persian people want the destruction of their government. And they can't do anything about it because they don't have weapons. They protested hundreds of thousands, potentially millions on the streets. The Iranian government couldn't even get 5% of that as a counter protest, despite the fact that the protesters knew that if a police officer caught them, that was their execution and their death. And the counter protesters knew that they could be financially supported by the government if they and still they couldn't get 5% of what those people want. So they desperately want U.S. intervention. Even the leftist socialist communists there are saying, we would rather us be Libya and fail if we at least have a chance. And the only chance we have is Israel and America bombing and killing these people because we don't have the weapons to do it. But again, it gets more complicated than that because, I tried to do the best that I could to really say, like, well, what is the plan? And like the plan seems to be that we're going to support the exiled king and or prince of Iran.
Reza.
That he has this right, Reza, or Pavli, whatever you want to call him. That he has this plan, the Iran Prosperity Project, which is funded by a Washington NGO, the National Union for Democracy in Iran, which has a whole bunch of unlisted fucking NGO donations and, private donors. It reeks of intelligence. It reeks of exactly how we utilize U.S. aid and things and social media algorithms and purchasing media institutions to cause regime change. Meanwhile, Donald Trump is saying this is a regime change war and he's okay with people dying. I think it's ever more complicated as well, too, because this is essentially World War III with two superpowers, Israel and the United States, fighting against a bunch of tribes and smaller nations. It really is, because we're not fighting Iran. We're fighting Hezbollah. We're fighting pockets of terrorist organizations throughout the Middle East. Like, quagmire was such a famous fucking word when I was growing up, and we've just entered one that is way fucking worse. And and then we have, the last time the Iran Prosperity Project went to a major nation, it was when Gila Gamliel, the former head of intelligence for Israel, was selling the Iran Prosperity Project in Israel to donors. And so again, it reeks of U.S. intervention. And then Marco Rubio, just to add another cherry on top of this entire thing being fucked up, 3 days ago, if you said Israel was dragging us into wars in the Middle East, they would have said that that's anti-Semitic and you need to be banned from Twitter, you need to be banned from Facebook, you need to be banned from Instagram. You certainly are going to get banned from TikTok since the CIA, I'm sorry, fucking Larry Ellison of Oracle that totally isn't CIA, now houses all of TikTok servers, that you'd be a conspiracy theorist. And yet Marco Rubio said that we knew that Israel was going to attack with or without us, and that when they attacked, Americans would be bombed from Iran, in the region. And so we had no choice but to go in with them so that we could lessen the impact of that, which is literally just him saying Israel is dragging us into this war and we had no choice, which is a fucking so retarded to say, even if true. And so the entire thing is just a giant mess. And I don't trust Donald Trump. I don't trust the Trump administration in any way, shape, or form to be able to do it. But at the same time, the idea that some people dying in this war in Iran is like the greatest evil thing, when we know that tens of thousands of people were recently just murdered by Iran for the crime of trying to speak against their government, when we know that women are slowly starting to walk out without their hijabs on, risking, repeated brutal gang rapes in prison over and over again if the Iranian regime doesn't kill them. And we know that these people desperately want all of these people dead and that they are legitimately oppressors. It makes it hard to fucking really genuinely call us the bad guys here. Or that somehow a school getting blown up is the greatest evil that's ever occurred. And there's something about the fact that the oppression and the death in Iran is quiet that I think makes this whole situation eerie. is that it's not allowed immediate genocide like, or whatever you want to call it, like Gaza. Instead, it is a slow, methodical, horrific marching death of the Persian people for decades. And I'm all over the place and I'm verbose and I'm sorry, but those are kind of my opinions and my feelings.
Well, we got started early, so we have time for that. And thank you so much, friend. Much appreciated. Let's go to our friend Corey.
Well, I agree with Socialist Lactoid and Cap Scott. There's not much I can add on to that. As in, the Iranian people deserve a good outcome. But like, do I have as Lactoid alluded to? Sure, these Persian people deserve a good outcome. I didn't say the Iranian government, but I understand. Take your point.
Teasing, sorry.
But as Lactoid alluded to, I see no reason of why this strategy would actually end in a good outcome for them. If it does, great, and I'd be happy to be proven wrong. But I'm highly suspect, given, as Lactoid alluded to, United States track record. This seems sort of like even worse, in my opinion, than Dick Cheney's sentiment of it will be greeted as liberators, where just like the strategy of like, I don't think you can bomb a country into democracy. Like if it works that way, great, but I see no reason that would actually be the effective strategy of like, oh, we check with leaders and then the Iranian people will, just take the keys to the car and everything will be good. I think it's a bit more complex than that. But again, I'd be happy to be proven wrong. So since there's not much more I can add onto Lactoid and many of Scott's points, I'll try to get ahead of something where I'm reasonably sure, although I'll be happy to be proven wrong, that someone like Gibbs is going to be in favor of this. And so I want to commend Gibbs for his consistency, since it makes sense. It makes sense because remember, Gibbs is a pedophile protector. And so it makes sense that he will defend and protect Trump no matter what. And so I look forward to Gibbs living up to his pedophile protector reputation. And I'll leave it there for now.
Okay. All right. That'll be fun for Abers to contemplate. Hello, Abers. Thanks for being here. Much appreciated. Happy to have you. But could you introduce yourself to the audience, to me, and then from there, give us your initial thoughts.
Hi, my name is Abers or Abby. You can find me on Twitter at Abers09. You can find me on Twitch at Abers Unleashed, and I'm glad to be here. This is something that I've followed for a long time and something that I'm kind of passionate about. I have friends that actually are in Iran currently and can depart some anecdotal thoughts as well as my initial thoughts. And my initial thoughts on this is that I stand with the Persian people. When it comes down to it, the Persian people have been begging for help for months, begging for help from wherever it'll come from, because they've been being slaughtered in the streets for standing out against the starvation that is happening at the moment. The Iranian dollar is worth basically nothing. That is in part to sanctions and all kinds of things, because the government and the regime that's been in place cares nothing for their people and only for themselves and their agenda. They don't care which one of their citizens have to starve. They don't care if children are dying in the streets, and they don't care if they have to slaughter children in the streets. There's been anywhere between 15 and 35,000 people that have been slaughtered in the past 3 to 4 months, just for speaking out against the oppression that they're undergoing. So I stand with the Iranian people. I think it's good that we did finally intervene. I also don't think there was much of a choice. Israel very clearly let the United States know that they were going to act regardless of what we were going to do. And at the end of the day, the United States is not responsible for Israel, but that would have put us in a really bad situation. We are allies, and unfortunately, if Israel had struck when they did, knowing that this large meeting was happening and that all the leaders would be in place on that day at that time, if they had struck and we had not acted at the same time, we would have been incredibly vulnerable to attacks. They wouldn't have just attacked Israel. They would have also done like they did just now and attacked everything. So instead, we decided to go in with Israel at the same time. I think that was mostly a Trump decision. I think Iran has attempted to assassinate President Trump on 2 separate occasions, and he said quite literally, I got him first. He tried to get me, so I got him first, which is a very Trump-like thing to say. So I am in favor of the war that's currently going on in Iran, but mostly because the Persian people are in favor of what is going on in Iran. I mean, how many times in our lives, like Scott was very clearly saying, most of us are, here are millennials. And how many times have we seen in our lives that we invade a country and they celebrate that we are bombing them? They celebrate in the streets and they're happy about it. It hasn't really happened. It didn't happen with Iraq even. We might have seen one video of a statue being pulled down, but it wasn't thousands of people celebrating in the streets all over the country. So I am a yes, that I'm in favor of the war. And I guess back to you.
Thanks so much. Let's go to our good friend Gibbs.
Can you hear me okay? All
Yep.
right. So, yeah, you know, I'm just going to say one thing before we get into this. I don't really care about the moralistic arguments, but I just want to point out that people that are on one side, right? We have terrorists, socialists, and people that hate America are all on the same side of this issue. They all are fans of a regime that does terrible things, kills people, and they're bitching about it. I saw, what was it? New York Times put out a little piece on the Ayatollah, calling him all these happy things, and not the murderous fucking scumbag he was. So forgive me if I don't believe anybody's fucking crocodile tears about fucking, what we're doing over there and the poor children that were killed by a missile strike. No, it's war. It happens. I'm sorry. I don't give a shit. Secondly, here's the thing. China's fucked. You know who is laughing all the way to the bank right now, talking about their legacy? Bush and Cheney. Everybody said they look like idiots all those years because we were stuck in Iraq. Well, guess what? It all's finally come together. Yeah. And who would have told you it was the guy who was on The Apprentice that was going to be the one that sealed the deal? We're sitting here, the Ba'ath Party is gone. Matt Lactoid said something interesting, because I was going to talk about the Ba'ath Party, and he brought up that, this is like Libya. This is not like Libya. He came in day one and took out the prophet. He's gone. And 48 of their top leaders. You know how long it took us to get the fucking Libyan leadership? 6 months. Which led to the chaotic state and all these other things with all these who decided who to back, all etc. etc. Well, guess what? The Ba'ath Party's gone, Syria's gone, Iraq's gone, now Iran's gone, and our friends in the region, Saudi Arabia and Israel, are more powerful than ever. They have their perennial rival. China is weaker than ever. 80 to 90% of their energy was coming from Iran and Venezuela. Both of them are gone now, so China's about to have major problems. Russia has lost access to one of their biggest allies. We took their best tech, which is this drone tech, because they've been using it for years, and now we're making this shit here in America better. It's a win all around. I saw someone complaining earlier about, Tomahawk missiles were running out. Well, this is just one more reason we need to be production back to America. It all helps America. This provides jobs. This provides the removing of an enemy, the Strait of Hormuz. Maybe we got a slight increase oil now, but now we won't have to worry about the perennial problem of them always shutting us off. That's going to lead to global stability of the oil market in the long term. Maybe in the short term, problems, but long term we no longer have to worry about this evil power blocking this thing anytime they're pissed off. So this is a benefit. It's going to bring stability to the region. All their proxies no longer have the access to this power that's backing them and funding them and giving them the tech. That's going to lead to long-term stabilization. Even if you're on their side, this is going to lead to peace. You're just going to be sad because your side isn't the one that's getting the peace and getting what they want, because they're gone. So this is a win all around. The only country that's gained from this really is North Korea, because now Russia and China have to turn to them more for other things. But that's a net loss overall to BRICS. And I'm really a fan of American hegemony. I've heard a lot about people wishing about American hegemony, how America's pulling out and fucking up. And I got to say, it seems like we're stronger than ever. No country can do what we've done. We've told Venezuela to fuck around and find out, and we grabbed their president. Iran fucked around to find out and didn't give us what we wanted when we told them. And I guess they got used to being able to just push us around. They took our soldiers back in the day. We've been at war with this country since 1979. Let's just be honest. They've never liked us. They've shared death to America from the beginning. It's time to get this regime out, and we're giving them the country ass whipping they deserved. And hopefully one of these IRC guys will go, hey, maybe I don't want to walk outside and get bombed today, and get some of these people on our side so that the people there can have a peaceful transition. Otherwise, fuck it, let it balkanize.
Gibbs, we find ourselves always on the opposite side of a fight, but you have a way with words, friend, and I'm going to keep you. I'm going to keep you. All right.
I've kept him.
Yeah. Thank you. All right. There's just a charm about this
15
man.
plus years.
A murderous charm, but a charm nonetheless. So let's go to our good friend Judy.
Okay. So I think we are going to send American sons and daughters to die in a war that not 1 in 4 Americans wanted. Launched without a congressional vote to serve the interests of a foreign government that spies on us and a Saudi kingdom that funded 9/11. All while our own cities are crumbling, our borders are leaking, and working people in this country can't afford fucking groceries. I think that AIPAC and the defense contractors who write the checks to both parties got their war. Israel is likely going to get its regional enemy to be destroyed. The Saudis are getting their rival eliminated. What are we getting? We are getting spiking oil prices, dead soldiers, and another $1 trillion fucking swamp for us to bleed us for the next generation. I think that it is disgusting. I think that every dollar spent dropping bombs there is a dollar not spent here on American fact, American hospital, American family. I think that Trump ran on America first, ending endless wars. And when we got back in office, he went to the same donor class, same lobbyists, same neocons who gave us Iraq, and bent over and did their bidding. So I think the entire thing is disgusting, and we shouldn't be doing this.
Okay. So let's get things started. I wanted to ask though,
Can I just talk about the terrorist killer that was in Austin? I also stand with Abbott, by the way, and what he said. In fact, we have now announced we're going to be doing some Draw Muhammad contests again. Let these fuckers come and try to fuck with Texas. I dare y'all, goddammit. We're not dicking around. Y'all want to come out here and find out? Come get these hands too. Fuck them.
So I wanted to say something.
I stand with Draw Muhammad contest too.
Imagine there's going to be some. Oh my god. So Lactoid, I see you. I know you definitely want to jump in. You know what? I'll wait till after you. It's because I've got a lot of thoughts, but I think they align with some of your thoughts. So go ahead.
Sure. The first thing is, big fan of Draw Muhammad contest. Here in America, you
Hell
have a
yeah.
speech for sure. Secondly, this is how I feel. This was, I think, one of the most overt examples of just a flat out broken campaign promise. I mean, this is like very directly, we will not do this.
180.
No,
we are running against we're literally running.
No, it's
Kamala's going to make you do it. I remember
No.
the memes.
No, it's not.
I remember the memes on
Fake
Twitter.
news.
Like, they're going to vote to send your sons and daughters to war. I remember this.
Mhm.
Tulsi Gabbard, who
And Lactoid has a bad memory.
JD
I think
Vance
that's
and
bad.
Trump being
Trump
like the peace
consistently
president.
said, and I think that's where we have a problem, is we're all drawing on past experiences with war. Trump consistently said over and over again, no more endless wars. Endless wars. I mean, he just said it.
His campaign
Endless
promises
war.
bomb the shit out
Now,
of them.
how has he started an endless war? When Venezuela happened, they said, oh, this is going to start it. This is going to be it. We're going to be in Venezuela. Regime change. We're going to take over. Da-da-da-da-da. That didn't happen. He said, hey, you feel like you can do it and you don't want to die? Okay. How about you try things, cooperate, and if you cooperate and you're not a jerk like the person that we just kidnapped, great. You'll be able to continue. If not, dead.
The problem is
It's not endless.
But here's, I think it is. I mean, we all remember George W. Bush, mission accomplished, right? Yeah.
So now George
but-
W. Bush is Trump.
I'm not saying George W. Bush is Trump. What I'm saying is that when he ran, I very distinctly remember, and Corey's right. I must be correct in this because I very distinctly remember this, and sometimes I don't. I very distinctly remember him. He fired John Bolton in large part because John Bolton kept advocating for attacking Iran. This was he criticized John Bolton. He said, "Oh, he just wants to attack Iran all the time. He just wants to attack Iran all the time."
Yeah.
In 2024, he said that he would not attack Iran. That he did not want to get involved in a war with Iran.
but he also
This
said,
is a
He
180.
didn't
Come on,
want
hold on.
to,
No,
but he
it's not.
also
Yeah.
said there under no circumstances can Iran be
You
allowed to
said
do
Trump
X, Y,
fired
Z.
John Bolton.
Hold
right?
on,
That's what you meant because I wasn't sure.
Yeah, Trump is really fucking
Who did
inconsistent
I
on
say
everything.
fire John Bolton?
No, you didn't
Trump
say
is-
anyone. So I just wanted to make sure.
Trump
you
is
weren't talking
also
about
the
Bush. We're talking
only
about-
Yeah,
president
no,
since Dwight.
Trump,
Trump
yeah.
is also the only president since Dwight D. Eisenhower first said it. Right? Not a single president during their presidency has stated what Trump did, which is he called out the military-industrial complex. Now, obviously, Dwight D. Eisenhower called it the military-industrial prison complex, which I think is an important distinction that's often lost. But I mean, he specifically talked about, the corporations and the those within the president's cabinet and in the highest echelons of power that want war to sell and make bombs and destabilize regions. Like using you, like, this is the problem.
yes.
And I'm not trying to say like you're like a dishonest person. But what I am saying is that this is potentially bad faith or maybe a mistake. But using Trump's own inconsistencies is not really an argument as to how he isn't
But he wasn't
lying.
inconsistent. But he wasn't
Right,
inconsistent on this
He
one.
absolutely is one of the most inconsistent people that is famous on this fucking earth. He
Oh, yeah.
directly contradicts himself within 24 hours constantly.
But hold on.
And he
hold
does
on.
it on purpose. And he's written books about how he does it on purpose. How he intentionally says hyperbolic truth, quote, end quote, so that the media will attack him, so that his own people will then defend him on a technicality, so that he gets free advertising and free publicity based off of the lies that he told. Like, he
There's no
does this
technicality here,
constantly, and you
though.
guys brag about
But
it.
hold on.
But the thing here
This-
is that trying to say, oh, well, it's no endless wars, so actually he was totally cool with
But he-
bombing people,
No.
is just like directly
He
against
didn't even say that.
most of his campaign
Yeah, you know what his
promises.
direct quote was on what he would do with Iran if they didn't play ball. This is during the campaign, by the way, is if they didn't play ball, his direct quote was like, I will bomb the shit out of them. So, yeah, I don't know that he was inconsistent when he said if they don't play ball from day one. Somebody in my chat said, or the chat said, hey, he tore up the nuclear deal to set this in motion. They're absolutely correct. That fucking nuclear deal
Yeah,
was
and then he changed his
made
fucking
by a bunch
opinion
of made
2
by a
days
bunch of
later
traitors.
because
Made by- hold on.
because Bill Maher went and had dinner
No,
with him.
hold on.
Like, the dude is fucking inconsistent.
No, he just
Shut
had a
up.
conversation. No, he said this from day one that he was going to bomb shit.
That was back during
why are you
2016, wasn't it?
surprised? Why are you surprised?
No, it
when
was
the
during this
president
presidency when he
that is
tore up the
running
deal
the
and then Bill
country?
Maher had
No,
dinner with him.
Hold on.
I'm saying
Why
bomb
are
the
you?
shit out of them.
Hold on. Why are you surprised
Oh, yeah.
when the
That was in reference to
hold on.
ISIS.
No, what? No, hold on. When you're talking about why are you surprised when the president that is running the country like Death Row Records is going to sit here after 2 assassination attempts on him and go, nah, we're going to let this shit slide.
Nobody said I'm surprised.
No,
Who
sh-
said I'm surprised?
This is,
I'm
how
not
is this,
surprised.
how is this
My
not
argument
America
is that
first?
he's inconsistent,
It weakens
and that he
China.
just- and that he
It's
just-
America first. Do you not agree that situations change in real time? And if they do, then you have to adjust. I'm sorry that y'all want to be Ayatollah cucks and be
Let's
little
say-
liberal
let's say-
pussy
wait,
puppies.
hold on, hold on.
But
Let's say-
I'm
I
not
need a
going
fact.
to
You and I
get on my
think one thing
knees
real
for
quick.
the Ayatollah because I told you we should have killed him 20 years ago. You know, like, God damn, bro.
Sure, I hear you. With the bombing the shit out of quote that you referenced, he was referring to ISIS. I just looked it up. He was referring to ISIS. That was
Good.
not.
Well, either way, he can say, "Oh, Assalamu
Secondly,
alaikum," the fucking
he
Satan
said-
hell. That's what I'm saying. Fuck
He
him.
specifically said that you wouldn't have to worry about a war with Iran with him.
Circumstances have a nuclear weapon.
No.
They cannot have a nuclear weapon.
They
I
don't
would
have a
love to
nuclear weapon.
I'm definitely not going to go now.
But they refuse to back down from pursuing it over and over and over and over and over again. And regardless, they tried to kill him twice.
They sure as fuck ain't getting that nuke now, are they? Campaign promise fulfilled.
I feel like I'm in.
What
so-
evidence do you have that he tried to kill him twice, other than the same FBI that covered up the Epstein files?
Okay, so if I have evidence,
What
You have
evidence?
the word of the
Okay, but
FBI.
if I
We have
don't
evidence they won't get a nuke
evidence
now.
it's
There's no
being covered
buildings
up,
left to put
that's
it in.
your
You're
argument,
like,
but you're complaining against Trump being inconsistent. But regardless, oh well, your evidence comes from this source, therefore not real evidence. So no matter what,
my question is very simple.
A conspiracy rabbit hole. Because
no, I'm saying that I have serious reason to doubt whether or not the Iranian regime actually orchestrated assassination attempts when the only evidence that we have is the word of the FBI. Who here trusts the word of the FBI and only the word of the FBI as direct evidence that something is fact? You're saying that it's a fact.
That Iran has to get rid of the concept of a nuclear weapon, and if they refuse,
so you won't answer because this is a losing one for you, right?
That's where I went, and you took it somewhere else. So I'm taking.
Wait, hold on, but to be clear,
I'm attacking your evidence. I'm attacking your evidence. I'm attacking the source of your claim that is a fact.
A nuclear weapon.
They don't have a
loudly, but it doesn't change the fact.
You don't even need to. You don't even need to do that, Scott. Right? Like the supposed assassination.
Where is the evidence?
Okay. The FBI, sure. Let's assume for a second the evidence is correct. Let's assume that the FBI is not lying to us about this and that Iran was involved. This was in November of 2024. He promised not to attack Iran during the campaign in 2024, in November of 2024. So if this was if he was saying, look, they try to come get me, you're right, we should declare war on Iran. Like maybe a little bit of notice would have been good for those of us who went vote for him. I don't know.
Well, it's just
did he say America first? Did he say that?
So
I'm not saying fucking
public and say, hey, just so you guys know, I am down. I'm down for attacking Iran. Just so everyone knows, including Iran.
That'd be cool if you followed the Constitution. I get that. I get that you dislike the Constitution.
Like he was supposed to.
He did
exactly what he was supposed to. He notified Congress.
Yeah. We just let him know
when he was supposed
to. Yeah. That's what the framers of the Constitution had in mind, right? Is you just let Congress know when you're going to bomb countries.
Is it not?
Yeah.
Is that not the law?
It's not the Constitution. For goddamn sake, no, it's not. Like the Constitution clearly states.
Is that not the current law?
Let's let in Doobie. Hold on, let's let in Doobie.
This is a real tough argument for you, Scott.
Yeah.
It's not a tough argument. It's very clear that the Supreme Court is absolutely wrong in violating of the Constitution by not holding the president to the fact that he can't just start wars and bomb random people whenever he wants. Are there any Americans in Iran?
Before it happens, he has
Thomas Jefferson. I'm not wrong. Thomas Jefferson absolutely got involved in the Barbary Wars.
If we lived in 1776, maybe, but we don't.
You mean like when the Constitution? Is there a constitutional amendment on war powers?
Thomas Jefferson
is there a constitutional?
Obama
no,
did.
Thomas Jefferson informed Congress that he was going to protect boats, and then moved there. And then there were Americans that were kidnapped by the Barbaries.
He told them afterwards, after the first battle.
He notified them that he was going. He notified them that he was going. He notified them. I think it was within a week.
They were on recess.
He did not start a war. He did not start a war, and he did not invade anything until after congressional approval. He has the right to protect American citizens, but Trump has no American citizens that he's invading to protect for in Iran. There aren't any Americans that he was protecting and engaging in these So just telling them I'm going to start a war, it's cool because supposedly they might attack because some other country is going to attack is not constitutional.
Let me respond to this because
I want to go to Doobie. So next person, Doobie.
I've already said that I'm against the war. The legality part, though, I've argued this a few times.
Still want to go. Okay.
Thomas Jefferson, Congress was on recess, and he did make the sole decision as the commander-in-chief to send a naval squadron over to the coastal waters surrounding the Barbary states to engage in the event that any U.S. commerce was engaged, and that a battle actually did happen within the waters of the Ottoman Empire. Now, I don't see.
It's not the same thing as what we're doing right now, right?
I don't. It's not. Of course, it's not the same thing. We didn't have fighter jets. I don't think it's actually a huge bit. I don't think it's a massive difference though between we're going to send military assets into the territorial waters of a different country and engage them when fighting happens. I don't think that's a huge gap between that and we're going to fly a plane
starting
over
a war without congressional approval.
Well, that could have started a war. We got into battle. We shot and destroyed ships that belonged to the princes under the Ottoman Empire.
Why? Because they were attacking us actively. Now Iran has been attacking us a bunch, right?
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah.
And Trump, and again, I don't give a fuck about the Constitution because it's a watered down fucking piece of paper. But I'm still going to hold people that presumably believe into it.
So
but that's not the same thing as Trump going to the straight and fucking protecting our oil and getting prepared for congressional approval to start a war versus just straight up saying I'm engaging in war and it's regime change war. And by the way, I'm willing to have Americans die.
Okay,
No.
great. So no.
Which he said.
Hey, thank you. Great. Oh my God, Gibbs, please. We can hear all your mouth sounds.
Sure.
Please, friend.
First the peeing, now this.
And Corey, I thought the reason why you wanted to jump in was because of the DM thing.
I understand. Yeah,
Sure. So we'll go to Corey and then Doobie.
But yeah, very quickly. So then, Gibbs, do you believe Trump is being honest in his justifications for the war,
I'm gonna be honest
or
with you.
let's say the attacks?
Let me tell you this. I don't know whether Trump's being honest or not. I'm gonna tell you.
What are your intuitions? Are you 50?
Vindicated.
If you're
Nobody
a betting man,
knows.
Hold on,
if you're a betting man,
I'll give you the answer you want.
You believe the words that are coming out of his mouth.
All right.
When he alludes to, I believe he's explicitly alluded to Iran's nuclear program.
Let me just
imminent threat. Do you believe that?
This will sound like a roundabout answer when I answer this, but I promise it's not. Just trust
more
me.
pedo protecting. I get it. Go for it.
Yeah,
If he was a pedo protector, he'd be protecting Muslims, dude.
Remember.
What are you talking about?
Remember, they were the ones that wanted to let cousin Bobby continue to get diddled and walk away and not shoot him at the time. But anyway,
the scenario. That was not the scenario.
It was a scenario. Anyway,
usually you go around.
Okay, just trust me. I'm gonna answer this. All right, so I don't give a flying fuck if you're being honest about why we're talking about Iran. I only care that we're bombing the shit out of them because they need to be bombed for years and years. However, when we say, hey, the one thing he is being honest about, and he said it, they're not going to get a nuke. They're sure as fuck not getting a nuke now, boys. Let me tell you that.
Wait, so when was he being honest when he said Iran's nuclear program, I think explicitly was obliterated, quote, last year? Was that successful? Or was that waste, fraud, and abuse when that happened, or it wasn't obliterated, or it was or was not obliterated back then?
Now we're just ensured it was done. I don't know. It was not fraud or abuse.
Was there any indication that Iran was on the cusp of having a nuclear weapon?
I don't give a shit.
Not on the cusp, no, but there was evidence that they were shipping in centrifuges and they were importing Russian and Chinese nuclear scientists in order to not only reestablish their nuclear program, but to accelerate it from where it had been.
But
these
people hate us. Fuck them. Who gives a shit about any of that?
And now it's totally rebuilt, and now it's imminent. So in 8 months,
but you don't understand the bigger picture here.
Imminent,
so was Trump lying when he said obliterated?
No, I personally think that it was obliterated, right? And the fact that they started
and then it was rebuilt in 8 to 9 months.
No.
Oh, okay.
No, like I said, I don't believe it was imminent. I don't believe it was imminent.
Because Israel
we chose now for a couple different reasons. Said. So number one,
we have to do what Israel says.
All of the Iranian leadership was going to be in one place at one time. So if we struck, then great. Also, there's another reason. Israel basically told the U.S., we're doing this with or without you. We know that they're all going to be in one place at one time. We've been wanting to do this for a long time. We're doing it with or without you. I also believe
Couldn't we just let them do it?
Saudi Arabia, well, we did. Right? We did let them do it. They're the ones who
hold on, we have a contract with them. Y'all bitch about us not following through with it.
Now we're involved.
No, no.
U.S. struck missile sites. They didn't strike down any leadership. We left all that stuff to Israel. Other than that,
did they strike some schools, or was that Israel?
Israel did that? Yes,
it's probably Israel.
Yes, it was Israel.
We're striking a school, Scott. I mean, come on.
I'm not saying that.
You know what I mean? I'm just curious if we know.
It's known that basically the United States was hitting the more missile sites, the missile sites and more of the military sites, whereas Israel was taking out leadership. And they said they were going to do that with or without us or not. Saudi Arabia.
Right, but you said there was nothing. So you said there was nothing we could do. We could leave.
No, we
could leave. I didn't say
we're in contract with their ally.
No, you did say that.
We were going to do that.
In your opening, you said that we would get attacked. And that there was nothing we could do, so we went with Israel.
I didn't say there was nothing we could do. I didn't say there was nothing we could do. I said we would be more exposed because we wouldn't have the element of surprise. I didn't say there was nothing we could do.
What I'm saying is we could leave and we wouldn't be exposed, would we?
We can't leave our air
we made the
we can't just pick up all of the bases that are in Qatar and the ones that they've already hit. that was going to happen.
You can leave a
regardless.
fucking base in 6 hours and fucking
We're
blow
just-
up
we're
whatever
just
you
gonna
can't take.
evacuate.
Why? We
Bye.
own it. We wouldn't do
We're
that.
gonna leave our property, our territory.
Crazy work.
Bye. That's
Here's
the
my-
dumbest thing
Yes.
I've ever heard.
Let's
in my
let
life.
in. Let's let in.
The dumbest thing you've ever heard in your life is not to be a fucking
so
evil
dumb.
empire.
Yeah, it's pretty dumb. I
We just
agree.
left a
We're
whole
gonna
bunch of property
let
in
in.
Afghanistan.
Long live the
We're gonna
empire.
move on.
Blow it up.
Move on.
Don't let him have
Let's
it.
see. We're gonna let him do be. But before
He's
they
gonna
do
waste our
anything,
shit now.
we're gonna
That's
make
what we're
sure we
gonna
got
do.
everything out.
But hold on, he's advocating
We
for
would make
wasting tax dollars.
infinitely more money if we pulled out instead of getting
You're
involved in
burning,
another
you're
war.
wasting tax dollars right there.
Knock
Sorry.
it off. Great. Sorry. Just want to make sure before we go to Doobie. Corey, did you get everything else that you want to say?
I did so far.
Okay. All right. So now Doobie. And then Katie.
So I just want to. So where are you getting this idea that Iran is pursuing nuclear weapons and that they refuse to stop pursuing nuclear weapons? Because our ODNI since like 2019 has said every year that they don't even have a weapons program, that they are not pursuing nuclear weapons.
Oh, here we go.
The IAEA said the same thing. No evidence of a nuclear weapons program. No evidence that they're trying to make a nuclear weapon. So like, what evidence do you have that contradicts that?
The IAEA also said that they were enriching uranium at over 60%. And like I've already said, they were purchasing centrifuges to rebuild what we had already destroyed last summer. So if they're enriching uranium at over 60%, you only need 3 to 6% for energy. So why do you need 60% uranium enrichment? And that's the IAEA that you just cited.
Yeah. Okay. Well, if you know that, then you know what they said, right? Which is that the reason that they are enriching to that to over 60%, nowhere near what they need for a nuclear weapon, by the way, is because they intend to use it as a bargaining chip. They intend to use it as a bargaining chip to get the U.S. back into the JCPOA, and they only started doing it after we pulled out of the JCPOA, right? And this is the same thing our ODNI has said again since 2019, that the only reason they're doing this is because we pulled out of the JCPOA and they intend to give it over as a bargaining chip. In fact, when the negotiations were happening last year, they immediately were willing to give that up. They turn all that over to the U.S. And agree to civilian production only. Right. The issue was that the United States and Israel were putting poison pills into the negotiations to undermine them from the fucking start. We're negotiating in bad faith. Right. Israel knew that Iran would not agree to stop funding Hezbollah and Hamas and the Houthis. They knew they would not agree to give up their ballistic missile program. They knew that they would not agree to give up all their enrichment, including civilian enrichment. These were poison pills that were intended to scuttle the negotiations. It's just why they were fucking bombing them in the middle of the fucking negotiations. So like, it was all bullshit from the start. And again, there's no evidence from anyone anywhere, and since 2019, that they are trying to build a nuclear weapon. In fact, the intelligence that we have is that they shut down the nuclear weapons program in 2003, and they have not restarted it since. So why? So how is this imaginary program a justification to bomb them?
I have a hot take. This is a real hot take. All right, ready for this? Like, I hope, I pray to God with every fiber of my being. Like, I want y'all to know this is my deepest desire. What I'm about to tell y'all. I hope to God that we
Hookers and blow.
No, this is actually higher than that now. This is my newest, greatest desire. All right, so I would.
It's number 2. All right.
I hope it comes out that they knew from day one that they weren't making no nukes, and they were using this negotiation to bamboozle them and to find out where the leadership was. I hope this has been plotted all the way back from when Trump did this, and we've been fucking planning to get him, because that would be based as fuck. And I hope all you little whiny sissies that hate America sit down and suck on the knowledge that y'all got bamboozled. That's what I hope. I hope it was fake, because I don't trust the IAA. I don't trust the FBI. Fuck these sons of bitches. They hate our guts. I trust my gut. And my gut says they hate us, and it's time to bomb the shit out of them. And guess what? They're friends with all our enemies. So sorry if I don't give a shit that our enemy died. Oh no!
If you had like any kind of like sense of morality, right, you'd also be in
literally whim worship.
Yeah,
right. Because if it's true, that the United States government is covering for the Epstein class and their fucking child sex trafficking rings.
I don't give a shit. I don't give a shit. I don't give a shit.
This is about Iran.
I know you don't care. Hold on 1 second. But I think the reality is that I hate the
America. I like how right now, no matter what anyone brings up, it all comes down to
It's like you be finished, please.
It's like Epstein.
Shut up, please.
That's
I get you don't give a fuck about the government covering for fucking pedophiles. I get that. I care. Okay. So
Well, it's been happening 100 years. Who cares?
Isn't,
All right, next.
isn't that I hate the United States? I hate the United States that you are enabling. I hate that you're enabling all this evil shit that our fucked up government does. I don't want to be that United States, right? I want us to be better.
Well,
let's
bad
go
news.
to-
It's never happening. Might as well win. All right, like.
Let's go to Katie. Go ahead, please.
I don't know if you can hear me though.
We can.
Okay,
Yeah,
good.
you're much clearer than Gibbs.
Oh, the bar is low.
She's not mumbling everything.
I lost my voice, so it's like it's even worse than usual.
I'm actually gonna join. I share Gibbs' wish that we find out that they weren't trying to get nuclear bombs and you bombed them anyway. But that's just because it will make it a lot easier to prove to people how horrible America is and what it does if we just stop playing the bullshit. Stop playing the bullshit.
Bro, we could bomb half the world and we'd still be better than fucking Iran. Like, let's be honest.
Facts.
All right.
I mean, like, look, don't get me wrong. America's evil.
That's
I'm
kinda
not
true,
for the
yeah.
American empire, but like, come on.
That part's not true.
No, compare the fucking death tolls. Like no, like we
Well, hold on.
we've done
That's
far
just
more
because
than
they're
that.
bad at it.
difference in power.
No, hold on.
Yeah, just because we're better at it doesn't mean they're less
far more
evil.
harm to the world than fucking Iran has. Like it's just a reality.
Yeah, because they're scrubs.
That's a difference in scale of power.
It's
That's
a
not
skill
difference in
issue. It's a skill
morality.
issue. That's what it is.
I mean,
if
when
Iran
you're-
had the power of the United States, if Iran had the power of the Middle States,
a lot of harm.
you would be dragged off of camera
We
right
did.
now and sent to a prison to go get repeatedly
cares?
raped until you
That
die.
would be-
That's
that would be
what
improvement.
that's what would happen if
That would
Iran
be
had.
mercy.
Plenty of other governments that do
Most
that
of the
kind of
time,
shit.
they would bust
That's
down
why I
your
don't give a
door
fuck.
and just shoot you in your chair. So
No, we're talking about how America's
being
better.
raped
That is
would
true.
be actually an improvement.
No,
Right,
it's not
like-
true.
An improvement.
It's absolutely no. It's absolutely. Hold on, wait.
Like, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying we
That's
ought to bomb
absolutely
Iran.
true.
Let me make my position clear on this.
Go ahead.
Oh, real quick, Doobie, I
I'm
just
sure
wanna
we
make
need to bomb
my
a
position's
boy
clear.
to be that clear.
I disagree with this action by America. I don't think it's a good thing to do. But if we're talking about comparing countries here, America is far better than Iran. Like
Right.
it's not even close.
By what
Obviously.
metric? By what metric?
Can I?
By the
Pick
metric
one.
of all
Literally,
that is
hold
good and
on.
kind and
You
good.
pick
don't
one, Doobie.
Slaughter tens
You
of
pick one.
thousands of people in the streets metric. How about that one?
Oh yeah, okay. So
I mean, literally, Doobie, you could pick one.
Tens of thousands of people. We do it in other countries, so that's way fucking better. But
Yeah.
to be clear, there's no evidence, by the way, that they've killed 30.
You pick one. Pick a standard.
That's a lie. That's fucking
Pick a
obvious
standard.
propaganda.
You
Obvious
pick a
propaganda
standard
that's
to
being pushed
compare
by fucking
Iran and
Saudi
America
Arabia.
to.
Wait one second. If you look at the newspaper,
Just pick one.
Please
Just
shut
pick a
up.
standard.
Please shut up. I'm talking to this woman.
Pick
for a
any
second.
standard.
Okay, so,
I can
you're
absolutely-
repeating
you
yourself
wanna
like a
see
fucking
my
parrot.
videos?
Shut up
I
for a
will
second.
send you videos.
Hold on. If you
Yeah.
look at the news,
just point out. Now I want to go to Katie. Okay. All right. So we gotta we did
Just
interrupt
pick
you.
one.
Did we finish your point?
just pick
Sorry,
one. Just pick one.
knock
I get it,
knock
Scott.
off.
You said that like 10 times. Shut up. So,
Okay.
lady,
Yeah, get it. You
if
won't
look
answer.
if you look into the source of that 30,000 dead claim, it is a
Pussy.
newspaper or a media organization that is owned by fucking Saudi Arabia, who's conveniently Iran's rival in the region, and has been given $250 million by the Saudi government.
Hey, why don't we have accurate
There's no
reporting in
evidence.
Iran?
Based.
What's
Based.
the
Could it be because
There's
they
no
kill
evidence.
all
What do you think
journalists
is
that
the figure?
disagree
You
with
think
the
it's
Iranian
10,000
regime?
instead of
There
30,000?
is
Is
no
that better?
evidence that they've killed tens of thousands of people whatsoever.
You think
That's
it's so? You
claimed
think
that
it's
this
what,
thing
like
put out.
1,000,
They
2,000? You don't think they killed
claim with no
anybody?
evidence that it comes from Iranian officials. No fucking evidence. They just say it and it gets regurgitated all over the fucking place. Now I'm curious.
Hey, how come we don't have accurate reporting there? How come we don't have accurate reporting there, Doobie? Could it be because they kill journalists that report on anything
You
negative
think
the
it's
Iranian
like
regime's
turn
doing?
the internet off
Guys,
so that
guys,
you can't get out
guys.
I'm
accurate
curious
reporting?
to see
I just
if
want-
you
I want to-
applied the same level of rigor to claims that came out of Gaza, the death tolls. Because I'm sure
What I'm asking
just
you
based
is
on
you
your
seem
personality,
very
that you were doing
certain.
the same thing I'm doing right now. Oh, can we verify the death tolls?
You have
But with
stated
Iran, you just
for
regurgitate whatever the fuck they say, right?
No, you have stated for sure that my tolls are incorrect, right? I said tens of thousands. That could be 10,000, 20,000, 30,000. You said it's
It's not even
absolutely
okay.
not, which means
Where are you
think
getting the
it's
claim for
less than
10,000?
10. So go ahead and you tell me, since you say my figures are
You
wrong.
made the
tell
claim.
me,
Okay,
where
tell
do
me,
you think
where's the evidence that they've killed 10,000 people?
the evidence is in the actual body bags? They ran out of body bags
body
in the
bag? No, they
hospitals
didn't.
in Iran.
No, they didn't. You just made that up.
In some of the during the protests that were happening in like December-ish, they were running out of body bags at some of the hospitals
know-
trying to bag up people. They were being shot in the streets.
Okay, did you know that during these protests, actually when they actually got violent, right? Because initially they weren't violent at all, and the government was actually negotiating negotiating
The negotiation was they offered them
negotiating with the protest leaders, right? Initially, and then they got violent like a few days into them, right? And if you look into this, Mossad was posting on fucking Twitter that they're on the ground in Iran, right? And it's been known for a long time that Mossad has hundreds of Mossad agents within Iran that were working to destabilize the government, right? And there are many reports from Iranians. I know you're going to say that they're like shills for the IRGC or something, but from Iranian citizens who said that they were people, foreigners who came in, were giving people weapons, paying them to kill police officers. They beheaded police officers. They set a fucking hospital on fire. They were shooting protesters and police to try to start chaos in the fucking streets. So this to me stinks of a fucking Mossad operation and probably CIA operation too, to foment a revolution, to create a revolution, right? By just killing all kinds of fucking people, starting fucking chaos in the streets. And it's true that Iran had to use violence to put those people down. But right now, there's no evidence, and I've looked, there's no evidence that they killed tens of thousands of people. That's just a claim that comes from Saudi Arabia. It's
at
true.
least 7,000 confirmed.
Where's that come from? Do you believe
this shit?
With poor reporting.
I hope it wasn't CIA. Heavy based.
Do you genuinely believe that the Iranian regime's hand was forced to kill its citizens, and that without that they wouldn't?
Hold on, Scott. You gotta hold on, right? So I'm gonna just get the one thing quickly, and then I gotta go to Katie.
Come on.
Okay? No, stop. Wait, please. We gotta jump in, all right? So, but we're just curious. Where'd you get that 7,000 number? And then we can move on.
At least 7,000 confirmed by, I believe, the Islamic regime.
Where did you get that?
No,
number?
hold on. Their numbers were 2,000, not 7,000.
The exact source. Give me a minute.
They're putting it at over 3,000.
Okay. So why? So
their numbers were somewhere around 2,000 or 3,000, not 7,000.
Yeah,
but there are some.
They were forced to kill thousands of their own citizens by their admission for protesting.
So she's.
Forced
to kill
thousands of their own citizens.
Let me help them.
PBS is the source I have for it.
My head. I'm not looking
so
at this up as
she's
I go.
referring to HRANA. I don't quite know what that stands for. Which is a human rights organization, NGO, US based. Obviously, got to take a little bit of a grain of salt.
You trust the NGOs.
They're putting it at over. NGOs have some problems. True. They're putting it at over 7,000. The official government numbers are 3,000. I do think it's a little bit fair to acknowledge that it's probably higher than that, right? I mean, do you really trust Iran?
No, I don't trust either side. Both have an incentive to lie. To lie.
Yeah, but if they acknowledge 3,000, if they are saying that's the
now,
no, hold on.
True, Scott.
If they acknowledge,
right?
yeah, Doobie, if they acknowledge 3,000, then at the very least we know this is the floor, right? Because they're not going to acknowledge anything more, than because they're just not going to, right? Because they're going to pick the number that suits them best. And if 3,000 they're already willing to admit to, we can at least estimate that it's going to be more than that.
But like to be clear,
potentially double that's not crazy.
To be clear, my understanding, and I might be wrong, but my understanding is that 2,000 or 3,000 that they put out is includes police, includes soldiers, includes nurses and people at hospitals who were murdered.
Only about 207 military government forces.
This says the HRANA
one second, who were murdered by what they say is
Link
foreign
Friends
actors
and
who came
Winners.
into the country to spread chaos. Right? So it's going to include some of the protesters who they say were murdered by those people. So, and also some of the criminal gangs who were using weapons given to them by those foreign actors and were paid to kill police officers and protesters.
Based. Fuck
direct quote. This is a direct quote from the head of the judiciary of the Islamic regime.
Later, we'll stop it. We're gonna get the direct quote later. No more. Thank you. All right, I'll let you guys go on, please. Katie, go ahead.
I have a question for. Is your username Lady, or do they just keep calling you Lady for no reason?
No, he's just calling me Lady for no reason.
Yeah, I'm calling her Lady for no reason.
You sexist pig.
It's really weird.
Doobie.
Her name's not on the screen. I'm not going to look it up, okay?
Abbers.
I don't know.
Abbers. ABBERZ. Abbers.
Now I see why he likes Iran so much.
Okay. I actually.
Yeah.
Fan of women's oppression, I guess.
I actually want to. Fabian, I actually want to answer your question. I do think that domestically, Iran is not very good for its citizens in a lot of ways. And I think at least I'm going to say something and hopefully we can move past that. In my opinion, if you're white in America, you definitely have it better than if you are a regular citizen in Iran, at least in terms of governmental oppression. Okay? So, in that metric, I would agree with you that living in America is better for some people.
But not black people, though, right? They have it worse.
Yeah, is there a race
Blackjoy.
you would pick where it's worse to live in America
Blackjoy,
than it is
do
in
you want
Iran?
to talk about it? It's
worse for women
amazing
in
that
general.
even you whined about how no one would give you a metric, and then I give you a metric, and then you want to whine about that metric. I'm going to finish.
I'm asking a
my point now.
clarifying question.
I'm going to finish my point now.
Yeah, it's just a clarifying question. So is there a race that you would pick where it's
Iran
worse
is
to
also
live in
a
America than in
theocracy.
Iran?
Iran
will
is
let
also a
Katie finish,
theocracy.
please.
Iran is also a theocracy, and America,
Mhm.
well, a lot of Americans would love to get there. It's not currently the case, so I'll give you that. In terms of, you know,
Katie, is Islam right about women?
in terms
That's
of
a demographic in America.
in
right?
terms of
Please.
Women.
global imperialism, obviously America has done worse, but it's okay because
You don't seem to
Fabian-
accept that being a woman would be
It's
worse
okay,
in
Fabian.
America. So being
It's-
white or being a
You
woman,
know
is
what?
there a different demographic you'd pick?
You know
Let's
what?
let-
I was actually
What about
wrong to try to
LGBTQ?
engage with something that you asked. I'll just go back to my original point. It's fine. So yeah.
Oh, so you're a
I
coward.
think it's unfortunate that Iran
You just like throw out little
didn't-
Wait,
racist
stop it, stop it,
jabs.
stop it, stop it, stop it, stop
Stupid.
it, stop 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 it.
You're a moderator. Your job
Stop
is to
it.
make sure that people don't do dumb
I'm
shit like
moderating
that, right?
you now. This is you.
You should be moderating her. She
Oh
throws
my
out random
God,
comments
please,
and then runs
please.
from them.
Please.
If you're an active
Stop it.
moderator, right? You should say, "Yeah, that's crazy." Maybe answer the
No,
question,
no,
right?
let her finish, and then I'm going to ask her the question
Yes.
again as soon as she's done.
You're gonna Hold on, what's this brilliant idea from Lactoid? Hold on, a person can finish talking, making their point, and then you can respond to them.
It's that socialist
Amazing.
mindset. Got it.
That's right.
Equity in speaking
That's right.
time. I know.
Both,
It's,
I guess
Red
both
Revolution.
socialists don't understand how to moderate a
Okay.
conversation.
Let's go to Katie, please. Thank you.
Yeah. In terms of imperialism, it's very clear that America has a lot worse just in terms of the death toll, but we can talk about exploitation or a bunch of other stuff that you don't care about. But I think that you know, Fabian did say that it's about, well, if Iran was as strong as America, do you not think they would do bad shit? And it's like, that's not really an argument to talking about who's better. But I also found it interesting when I tried to talk about something else, it was important to sternly bring up who's better. I do find, and another thing that I wanted to say is that before I joined this panel, this entire panel was talking about how America is lying, how the FBA is not trustworthy because it was covering Epstein. I believe that was Fabian's point, how Trump is inconsistent, how the entire administration is completely corrupt and in a pocket of, I don't know, pedophiles or whatever. But you are completely fine taking, now you're here scoffing about taking anything Iran takes seriously against America's word, but you spent like the entire panel talking about how America's word cannot be trusted in any way and how America breaks their own words to, you know.
America isn't an institution, obviously, right? You made like 7 or 8 points, so I guess I might as well get to them, right? Or in fear of being moderated further. So first and foremost, let it be known that you did indeed run away from the conversation on highlighting that it is only, or it is somehow preferential only if you're a white man in America than being in Iran, despite the fact that you also ran away about the concept of women, because obviously it's better to be a woman.
Have her answer the question.
Secondly,
wait, before we move on, can you please answer that? I'm really curious, Kitty. Which race do you think has it worse
go ahead, yeah.
than the people living in Iran?
I don't know if you noticed, I said one criteria, and that was for white people in America.
Yeah, she won't.
So I
she
didn't
won't answer.
say.
Yeah, she won't answer. You're a coward. You're a
What
coward,
did
and
you
you're
say?
not here for debate.
Wait. Here. I'm
Well, how
accepting
many
all the
opportunities are
charity.
you going to give her to
Good
just
cop, bad cop, Scott.
blah, blah, blah?
Listen, Katie,
Like at a certain point, you should just ignore her for being a retard.
No, I
and just
want
move
to. Oh no, I want to. Please.
Does that offend you? I don't know. Maybe worse things would be said about you in Iran.
Hold on, Scott.
No
Scott,
Iranian ever
chill.
went on.
Oh my God,
online. I've talked
Katie,
to some Iranians. Don't worry.
Katie,
We
look,
don't talk like you.
when you say well, the white men have it better than those living under Iran, the implication is that there's some group of people that doesn't have it better in America than living under Iran, right? Would you agree with that?
You said one criteria. I picked the easy criteria. Do you want to now discuss who has it better in Iran than America?
Yeah, who has it better in
we can
Iran
do the-
than a different racial
If that's
group?
that's her criteria, right?
profit,
Her criteria is a white man, right? So in the comparison is it's better for a white man in
No,
America than
Fabian.
it would be for a white man.
I said that
in,
domestically.
I disagree.
it
No
probably
Iranian
is
ever
in
told me
Iran.
that I
white
can't apply to
people.
their college.
Okay. Anyone actually? Okay, good.
Anyone actually? What do you mean?
Okay.
You're running like a dumbass from the fact that you tried to make it a racial thing, and then you said, and then you want to blame other people and try and hint at that it's actually our obsession with race. Like, no, I'm not going to let you swirl and run away from this. Stop being such a pussy ass coward. Or get the fuck off this panel.
Damn.
You have nothing to add. Which race? Which race is it worse to be in America than it is to be in Iran? Answer the fucking question.
Jesus.
Or admit that it's not better, no matter who the fuck you are, to be in Iran.
Pretty bad to be a human.
Iran bad does not mean America good, you dumb bitch. Answer the fucking question.
Can you stop cursing?
Oh, bitch is a problem? They would rape her in Iran.
Please,
They would beat her to death.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay. Please calm down. Friend, Scott, I know you can hear me, friend. Please, knock it off. All right? We don't need the rape thing. We don't need anything that we got it.
Whoa.
Okay?
God damn.
Point made, friend. I'm gonna bring you back on screen. I love you, friend. Okay? I'm gonna bring you back on screen. Let's keep it cool. All right. Point made. You got it. All right. We're gonna move on. In fact, I'm gonna start talking after this. All right. Because I got points I'm gonna make. So
Bad.
okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Welcome
Thank
back.
you. I appreciate you. All right.
And you
so,
come back to save the day, though. Just let it be known she still didn't answer. But we can move
Understood.
on because she
Don't
won't.
worry. I've been raped
Okay.
in many countries. None of them were Iran, okay? Don't worry.
Okay.
They were all
Well,
Western.
If you ever
yeah.
manage to get through the border, I'm sure it'll happen very quickly.
Let's
What
go.
is happening?
Because
my
I'm
God.
Jewish.
What is happening?
Understand.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Okay. All right. So, hold on. I got stuff we can engage with. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
And maybe people can yell at me.
Save us, Prime.
Right? Yeah. I'm black. Yeah, let's talk about that part.
Say
All
yes.
right.
Since you're black, do you think you'd have it better in Iran or in
no.
America? Just out of curiosity, as a black man. Everyone, be quiet. Myself too. A black man is
I actually want to
speaking.
hear that. I actually want to hear that, Prime.
And if you don't answer it, you're a coward, Prime. Remember, if you don't answer, you're absolutely a coward.
Better answer.
That's the only option.
And you can't cop out and say that Iran is full of Persian women, which are hot. You don't get that cop out. I'm cutting that off at the knees right now.
That would be a pretty good answer, but no. As far as I know, my understanding of Iran and their regime, right? I would be worse off in Iran. Treated worse off in Iran. It's my understanding. But I've never been to Iran as well, so I don't know.
You'd
but
be
that's
being
my
lied to.
understanding. So let's.
I think you guys misunderstand, or like you guys.
You know what Iran offered their people as like a hey, stop this protest. You know what they offered everybody as they're starving to death?
Axes.
$7.
Oh, sorry, those different people. Sorry.
Okay.
$7.
Hold on. Do you
But how much
support
is
lifting the
$7
sanctions on
though?
Iran? Hold on. Do you support lifting the sanctions on Iran?
No, I
You talking to
support
me?
the Islamic
No?
regime
No,
being
you don't?
gone. So
Because
that
then you
we
don't give a
can
fuck
lift
about the starving
sanctions.
people, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
you don't give
okay.
a fuck
all right,
about
well,
the starving people.
okay. So yeah.
I want what the Persian people want.
Yeah, I'm sure they
So-
want food. They don't want sanctions.
They want
From-
U.S.
from what
intervention,
they've said,
right? Like
they
most
wanted
of
U.S.
us.
Scott, the polls on
intervention.
that are it's not as clear.
Yeah, it's not true.
clear.
Yeah. So okay, hold on. I want to jump in here for a second. I do want to get to the sanctions thing because that's something I wrote down. That's the first thing I wrote down in my notes. But we're going to tackle that later. All right. so lots of things were said previously, and just like really interesting comparisons. So our friend Lactoid, I believe, in his opening statement, talked about how this was similar to Libya. Yes, Libya. And then he got pushback from that to others, right? A line that was said, I believe this is from Abers, but this is not just directed to you, is that, oh, well, this isn't like those other regime change wars, right? Because where has have people cheered on the death of their leader, right, when the U.S. invades?
Iraq,
Well, I'll tell
Libya,
you, right?
Syria.
Specifically Iraq, right? They cheered on Saddam Hussein. They tore down a statue of Saddam Hussein in public square.
Which I specifically
Very well known.
referenced in my opening
They sent us
statement
into
as being
death.
the
Great.
one everyone
And then
has seen.
specifically Libya, they cheered the death of Gaddafi even more than cheered the Gaddafi, right? They dragged him into the public square, right, on the back of a truck, and then they raped him with a bayonet, right? Anally raped him with a bayonet, cheering his death, right?
Well, we got to be careful about the rape word. All right.
Indeed. Someone might take you off screen.
Better be careful. Right? Someone might be offended.
But in any case, yeah, like this is exactly like that. Like if Trump got murked today, right? Half of the country would be in mourning, half of them would be cheering. That's what's happening in Iran right now. Half of them are mourning, and then another half tore down a statue of Khamenei in a public square. This is
half of them are mourning.
Well, I'm sorry. To be clear,
we don't know. We don't know what the percentage.
Hundreds of thousands of people in the fucking streets. Like it's not like as white.
Yeah.
This idea that they're all like happy that he died is ridiculous.
Yeah, I can't. So I'll take back that number because I don't have
the overwhelming majority want the Iranian regime to collapse. Now, whether or not they want U.S. intervention,
the method here is really so.
Right, whether or not you want U.S. intervention is
well, yeah, but not only U.S. intervention, but it's split
in place too. I mean, granted, we don't know the whole plan, but I know that there's been a plan put in place before this even happened. At least Reza Pahlavi is an option. There was no other.
Nobody believes Reza's going to take control.
Reza's not an option.
Nobody thinks. Not even Trump believes that.
They're not bringing back the king. That's not going to happen.
The plan is to destabilize
but at least there's an option.
The polling, but it's not a real option. And the polling that I've seen while some yapping was happening, which is fine, it puts it roughly at about half and half between people who want like a violent overthrow of the regime and people who don't. And those people who don't, there are large segments of the people there that would like a gradual sort of democratic shift away from the regime. I agree, the regime's not popular there, right? And that is a good point to make. That is a solid point to make. The fact that 70% or plus by some
70 at the lowest,
yeah, at the lowest, they don't like him. That is a very relevant statistic to put forward. That is that in fact does provide some justification. To
70% is the lowest of people that want the regime completely gone.
Right.
Not just like reformed or like want a different party in power.
Right. And the only reason why I think that this nuance here is important is, like I have also said, I strongly believe in the right of the people to have self-determination. And the fact that so many of them live under a government that they don't want is relevant to bring up and is some justification to overthrow them. Now, is it enough justification to overcome all the plenty of criticisms that have been levied thus far, which is we don't even fucking know what we're doing. We don't.
Yeah,
Reza's not an option.
Yeah, there's no plan for after.
There's no plan for after.
We've done this before. I feel like
yes.
Iran already had a plan. The regime already had a plan for this guy dying. So he wasn't a young, like, lively guy. The guy was old as fuck and kind of ready to go. So, like, the regime already has a plan for the. And if the regime doesn't have a plan, all we did was create another vacuum in the Middle East for some terrorist regime to come take over, kind of go crazy in the Middle East again, and now we have a new problem. So, like, what are we? We're either instilling the new Shah like we did in the 50s. We have another Ayatollah coming up, or we have ISIS or Al Qaeda coming to take over. What's our actual plan?
But that's a good thing, though. That's a good thing, though. Like, y'all act like that's a bad thing.
That's a good thing.
Yeah, it is a bad thing to have Al Qaeda have Iran.
Yeah, but it's a good thing. They're weaker.
Imperialism to go, but if you're not, well, like, the fact of the matter is, you're not going to do anything about it. You're just going to sit on the sidelines and cheer, which is like, all right, fair, I get it. But then, like, Where's
right,
the positive?
we have the
Where's
strongest
the
military in the
positive
world.
outcome for you? Because if
They're
we go
weaker.
into more trillions in debt because of another war, I don't see how this benefits you outside of your stock.
Or check this out. Check this out. We bring production back to America. And we build more weapons. And clearly, Russia and China. Hold
we're
on.
not going to do it right now.
So the Iraq war was a net positive on our budget?
Yeah. I think it has been net positive on our
You
foreign
think it was? Yeah.
It was net positive overall for our foreign power projection. Yeah.
Overall, you think it was positive? Yeah.
I think now Bush and Cheney have been
$2
100%
trillion
vindicated.
really helped us.
Yeah, our $40 trillion fucking debt.
I think they've been 100% vindicated now. They look like the fucking Nostradamus. That's what they look like. We should make George W. the next prophet because he was vindicated completely by Trump with taking out the
George Bush hates what he did. George Bush spends
it doesn't matter if he hates it, he's vindicated now.
Most of his time painting the faces of soldiers that died.
Oh well,
he hates
so what? He has a heart, but he was.
So he's not.
He was
not
right.
vindicated.
He's
on
vindicated.
our side at
Just
this
because
fucking point.
Just because he's
keeping his fucking mouth shut
just because
because he
doesn't
doesn't want to lose his fucking money and connections.
He's sad he had to kill some people, and I'm sad, but glad he feels bad about it. That shows he was a good man, but he did the right thing.
What the fuck did we gain?
I think
what the fuck did we gain?
Here, I think
a destabilized Middle East. They're weaker. We got them the bad parties.
Who's weaker?
Like you say,
if
you all say, if it turns out like you say, and it's going to turn into Iraq all over again, and we're there for 5, 10, 15 years, you're right. You're right. It'll ruin Trump's legacy. He's done.
Fuck him, who cares?
But
if
he goes in and he gives the Persian people what they want, which is regime change, and then gets the fuck out of there, that's a different story.
How are we going to just change the regime and get the fuck out of there without being there for multiple years? Because in order to instill a regime and then make sure that it stays existing the way that we want it to, we're going to have to be the ones to monitor that shit, right?
We don't know what the popularity is. All we know is that 70% don't like the current regime and want to see it go. A large segment of that want to do it democratically. We don't know what the but we don't know what the popularity is of what potential other government exists. We just don't know.
Right.
So
it doesn't matter what the popularity is unless we're there to instill that there's a vote.
No, I know.
If we leave,
I'm with you.
Oh, sorry.
Gibbs said something. Gibbs said something that was honestly just true, right? And I feel like we should acknowledge it because I feel like we get into this concept of like what it is that Israel wants and power dynamics, and we forget the main fucking reason that we are always in the Middle East. And people go, oh, it's a war for oil, it's a war for oil, it's a war for oil. It's not about the oil itself. It is about the fact that the US dollar is stabilized by OPEC plus. And BRICS is a direct threat to that. And it is important to recognize that as we have our $37 trillion in debt, and as we have rampant inflation, and as our credit agency ratings from certain international banks are beginning to lower, that the one thing that we can do to offshoot all of our inflation to the rest of the industrialized world is destabilize nations that are not involved in the oil trade via OPEC plus, right? Which is Venezuela,
that's absolutely
which is Iran, which is Russia, which is in part Syria through Russian natural gas situations and potentially through Ukraine. And it just so happens to be that bombs are popping off in every single region that would be necessary to maintain the stability of the US dollar so that we can continue to offshore our inflation. That is why we are there with Israel. We're not there because we have to suck Israel's cock. We're there because it is a symbiotic relationship at the expense of everybody in the world, at the expense of the American citizen,
and that's why,
the Israeli citizen, and the Middle East. And it's like, when you ask, what do we gain? Look, I don't like this answer. I think it's fucking evil, and I think what America is doing here is evil, and I would rather take the hit on inflation and have a stable fucking dollar by pulling out of these countries. But when you ask, what is it that we gain? What we gain is destabilizing BRICS.
And that's
when
important.
we destabilize BRICS, it maintains our dollar.
Just real quick to add to that. Like one thing, Frank, it'll take 2
quickly,
seconds.
I want to ask the question to Katie.
Oh yeah, so there's just one thing to add to that. This is why when I say Bush is vindicated, before that there was another power rising. It was the Ba'ath Party. They were in Syria, Libya, and Iraq. Iraq had the oil reserves in the military. Syria and Libya had decent militaries or whatever. But then they had the power across. They're going to create 3 countries. Libya was forming their own African currency. They were outside the standard banking system. This was an existential threat to Western economic system, right? And guess what we did? We took them out. Now that was one threat which empowered Iran, but Iran and BRICS is weaker than they could have been. So it's like you take these out domino style.
So I want to
test. I just want to make sure I'm using the right mic.
You're good. You're good. Hear your beautiful voice. And before I ask that question, just a quick super chat from my listening library says, if we're right, the least of the worries is Trump's legacy. The potential loss of thousands of young men and women is the worst case. Absolutely.
Correct.
Absolutely. Like
that is the worst case.
Fuck
correct?
his legacy. Fuck that.
Yeah.
Guy.
The worst case would be the worst case is us falling in like 200 years because we didn't handle him now. That's worst case.
Okay. So I want to.
That's exactly what I meant by ruining his legacy. That's exactly what I meant.
So
worst case
afraid.
scenario, thousands of people will die.
And here, I know this sounds like a kind of like bitch thing to bring up, but also the trillions of dollars. That's also, relevant here. Yeah.
It's a very relevant thing as well. Because
we can
who's
make more
going to be paying
job
for that? Us, right? And our children. Right?
Very high risk.
Let's go to our
to
Katie. Actually, so I want to dovetail off of what Scott said, right? Scott's talking about like what the US gets out of this, right? And I think it's like it's something that's just like never reported and talked about, right? Like the petrodollar.
I thought about this every panel.
Foreign policy, right? Like that it's part of like a shadow foreign policy that just like doesn't exist. We just don't.
It's my main foreign policy.
It's like freaking dark matter, right? We know it's out there, right? But we can't measure it. We can't see it, right? But like it affects everything. So anyway,
wait, what do you mean, John? Wait. Every week I come on here and talk about the petrodollar and the American military industrial complex and using that shit every fucking week. And he's like, I don't know, it's dark matter. I'm like,
no, I'm sorry. All right, friend. Not for you, friend.
The proverbial we, not necessarily you specifically or us on this panel,
the royal
but in American political conversation, you very rarely hear the
petrodollar
brought up.
We are
it's one of the most important aspects to these wars in the Middle East, in North Africa, in Eastern Europe.
And so the thing that I want to ask Katie is the other side of that. So I acknowledge which everything you said, Scott. However, Israel's getting something out of this as well, right?
Yeah, I said it was symbiotic. I said it was a symbiotic. It just doesn't benefit.
Friend,
you said that as well. I'm like, I mentioned that as well. Yeah,
Scott, chill.
Friend, I know. This is not in opposition to what you're saying, right? I just want Katie's opinion because she's Israeli, right? Which she likes to forget. But. I'm curious as to like as you see, especially like what's happened. I'm not sure if you have any insight into this because maybe you're not watching it. You may not be looking at this, but like if you do, if you give us any insight as to what's happening in Israeli press, because I find Israeli press is extremely honest about the things that happen, especially when it's in Hebrew. But they're not so honest when they're talking in English. Like, what do you think Israel's getting out of this? Or the history of Israel wanting to attack Iran. If you know any of that, I'd love for you to share your insights.
I mean, I can give like a brief of my understanding if that's what you're asking. But Israel, so when Israel and Iran used to have good relations before the revolution that brought up the current administration, and that was like mostly orchestrated by America, and they didn't realize that that's going to backfire. Like most of the times when they bring radical religious forces and stabilize a government because they don't like the government, blah 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 blah. And Israel, obviously, I'm sure Israel has helped with that too. But the point is that then the current regime came up, and the current regime doesn't like Israel very much for some good reasons, some less good reasons. But Israel has wanted to attack Iran for a really long time. I actually had a friend send me a message about how Israelis are now in shelters. For example, I talked to my parents yesterday, and they're sleeping like in the safe room where I used to sleep. So that was hilarious because they're in my room. Anyway, but the thing is, like, no matter how much Israelis are going to be upset about what Iran is doing, like, even my dad, who's considered like an Israeli peace leftist kind of guy, like a doobie type, like, he still thought that Israel should have attacked hotter in Iran, like the first round. You know, like he said, hey, if we were going to do this, then we should have gone all out, but not like this half-ass shit. So, like, for Israel, this is great. Israel has wanted a different regime for a very long time. To be fair, America wants that too. It's interesting, you know, what you were going to say about the sanctions, because like, we don't actually know how much it divides in Iran in terms of how many people hate the fact that living in Iran sucks, like economically, how many people are upset with the regime because of the political oppression and stuff like that, suppression. And so it's interesting that America probably could never elevate the economic conditions in Iran without changing the regime. But a lot of people want the regime change, not because they necessarily mind the government as much as they, you know, when it sucks to live somewhere economically, then you hate the government. Like, people hate the government of Israel for the same thing. Hate is a strong word. But I'd be interested in what you were going to talk about in terms of like the sanctions, because I think that when Avarice brought up that the Iranian government offered like $7, that's because, you know, they're choked out pretty hard because of Western sanctions. So, like, would you prefer Avarice?
He asked you had any insights. Do you have any insights, or just material conditions Marxist nonsense?
So, Avarice, do you?
I'm just curious if you could answer his question.
Would you prefer to just? Would you have preferred to elevate the sanctions and maybe try to just do the attack without the sanctions, or do you think the sanctions failed and that's why there's?
Okay, so she doesn't have any insights again. She's just here to be moderator.
You think
now?
the sanctions failed? In what way?
I think the sanctions were an attempt at diplomacy plus pressure, right? Without military intervention. And they failed to the point that the Iranian people were starving, right? And the regime still didn't care. They didn't care. They weren't willing to budge. No matter what was done, the regime was willing to starve out their own people, their own citizenry, to stand by these specific things that were put in place, and they wouldn't budge. So, you know, at the end of the day, military options may be necessary.
Sorry. So could you help me out with this, Abers? Could you help me out? Like, you're saying the sanctions that have been in place for quite a long time failed, right? So the sanctions, the point is to put pressure, and by that I mean like deny economic activity, deny services, right? And eventually start denying food. I'm not sure how hungry people are. I'm not sure about that, but I know specifically the economy is like shit, right? But like, that's what the sanctions, I mean, the purpose was completed there. They actually accomplished that. However, right, you're saying you want to put pressure on the regime to do a thing, right?
Right.
And the thing that we wanted was that they don't have a nuclear program, right?
Which was
hold on, that's not the goal. The goal is for them not to exist as a government. That's
no.
Yeah,
that's not. No, hold on. That's not what it was.
That is the real goal.
That's not. No. Let's not
That's the real
elevate
goal.
this, right?
No, it should be elevated.
No, it wasn't. Hold on. It wasn't. You know, it wasn't complete collapse.
That's not enough.
Right?
It's not enough.
Because then you do something.
Gibbs, you've been watching too much Asmongold, bro.
Yeah,
I've never watched Asmongold.
You watch way too much.
The guy, I've never watched him before in my life.
I'm definitely gonna finish my point. It's 100% gonna happen. Okay. All right. So, they and Gibbs, please, the mouth sounds, please, friend. I love you, buddy. Anyway, back to it. So, the sanctions were in place, right? But then, of course, Obama put in the nuclear deal, right? They got into a nuclear deal that Iran was following. By all measures, Iran was following that deal, right? So the big threat that people were worried about, Iran getting a nuclear weapon, right? Which would be so much worse than anyone else having a nuclear weapon. But Iran getting a nuclear weapon, that was neutered, and it was watched over not just by the United States, right? by the European Union, by the UN, right? By I think China and Russia might have also been part of it. I think at least China. They were all a part of this, and they were watching, and they all attest that Iran was following the deal. Trump gets into office, he destroys that deal, right? He gets out of that deal. Iran starts ramping up their nuclear, their uranium enrichment, like our friend Doobie said, right? Not to weapons grade, but to below weapons grade as a threat. Hey, we have this, okay? Then Trump gets back in office, and he's like, you know what? Why hasn't anyone made a deal with the Iranians? Why hasn't anyone thought of that before? Let's go to the negotiating table. So like, it's weird when you tell me or tell us that like the sanctions didn't work. It seems like they did. It seems like we had a plan, right? Like literally an agreement in place that was being followed, and then we blew that up. And then now we're taking the most expensive option, which would be an invasion. Correct?
No, incorrect. Hot take. Everybody that was a fan of that deal should be taken out back and be shot as traitors of the American government because they are in favor of an evil empire, and that's fucking Iran. Like, yeah, that was traitor. Yeah, it's outrageous. Y'all are all traitors to America. Everybody y'all that are sitting here saying that deal was anything. These guys touched our boats. They took American citizens captured. You don't remember? That's why we had the deal. That's the real. That's the
Navy does not like it when you touch.
That's the real reason.
Wait.
That's the real reason. No. Not one of you. No. Let me finish. Not one of you traitors. Not one of you traitors simps have mentioned that they had American hostages the entire time before that deal was done. They had American hostages, and Obama and all them were like, "Oh, I'm going to play piddly dicks." I don't want to hear none of this bullshit. It was pussitis, and it was traitors. Fucking Ayatollah.
When did they have American hostages?
With the boats in the Biden. You remember this shit?
What was Poseidon? Poseidon was having a deal
off the coast.
What's the
little river
when
cutters?
Do we know that we succeeded? When do we know that we succeeded? Because to Bam's point in the chat, Bam wants me to read, and I will read. To Bam's point, in Venezuela, we got rid of the one dictator. We kind of just we didn't change the regime though. It's the same regime. It's
good.
Nice.
They work for us now.
This dictator. What does success even look like? Success doesn't look like killing one person or catching one person.
Success looks like them doing what we tell them to do. That's
yeah,
what
but they're not
one
doing
person?
what we tell them to do. That's
they
the
took
issue.
Out like
well, then we just kill them until they do tell them. We find someone that does that.
Wait, they took out
it's
40.
Not one person. It's like 40.
Yeah, you just keep taking it out until the guy gets in the power that doesn't want to get shot and teams up with you.
Leadership and 90 million people are different.
Do you think Iran is Venezuela? Do you not think that the regime, that regime specifically, that has proxies all over the fucking world? Apparently, it doesn't just have proxies in the Middle East; it has proxies in South America, everywhere. There's proxies. You don't think these people had a plan for this? No, right? No, we're done there. We took out 40 people.
Oh, yeah, what happened to those proxies? What happened to the proxy? What happened to the proxy? What happened? What happened to us? Hey, hold on. Hey, you're Lebanese, so you follow the news over there, right? Hey, what happened to Hezbollah's head of Hezbollah 10 minutes after he said they declared war on Israel? Can you tell me what happened to him? Oh, he got bombed the fuck! Yeah. So I don't want to hear shit. Okay. Just hit him with the bombs till they stop bombing him out. Done.
He got bombed. They got bombed by a country that apparently has the ability to input bombs into pagers years in advance. And apparently there's reports coming out that they were able to spy in on Iran's highway traffic cameras.
I'm glad we picked them as our ally then, and not the bitches that are fucking.
The pager thing is like the most minimal damaging thing that's ever happened.
I'm not even turning this into like an ally or whatever. Crazy. But if the same tactics were used by the other side, they're terrorists. We can just admit now that the terrorism thing means nothing, right? And we can admit that we're not doing this for any protection of our own. There was no protection. There is anything. We're doing it for a regime change again because we want to flex some power. But then flexing the power costs us a lot. It costs us lives. It costs us money. So, like, once again, what does the win
in the short term?
We don't even get the regime change. We didn't even get the regime.
You're not gonna drop a bomb and get a regime change, but like,
gain.
God, dude, I can't do anything right.
Or change your mic. I'm not sure.
We just hear raw.
Cam's looking good though.
So Cam's looking good. Just get Cam's looking out while you're working on that, and then we'll.
Either one or the other.
So, just someone tells me what success looks like.
Just get your point out, and we'll go for it.
Total destabilization of the region.
Okay.
That's what it looks like.
I'm I'm just pointing out the fact that you're not going to be able to get a regime change
Get back
just
from
from
your
dropping.
mic.
Let me fix it. I can't do both. I'm sorry. You can't do a regime change from the air, just dropping a couple bombs. But for the people who advocate that this is about regime change, can you at least acknowledge then that like everyone in this administration should go to prison because it's illegal to drop bombs without getting any congressional help for regime change. The only reason they're arguing that presidential authority is there was a threat of national security, not regime change. So if you argue for regime change, then everyone should go to jail.
No.
Don't take your hand, lawyer man. No, it's not. You can't make that argument. You literally can't. There's exceptions in the law. You can't do it for regime change.
National security.
No.
Oh, which law says you can't do it for regime change? Go ahead.
Hold on. They're speaking on. Oh God. I'm about to say Trump said it out loud, and I think they even made. They ended up. Someone had to come out and make a statement against it. They're like, no. This isn't in regards to regime change. This is about like they stating it's not. So either they're liars or they deserve to go to prison. I like both.
Hold on. They may have said like this isn't really about regime change. I don't know if that was a statement.
So I'm
asking you. What law indicates
no,
that?
Stay to that part. No, let's move to the first part. We won't go to the second part.
I disagree. I've been arguing.
I asked the first question.
No, you said it was illegal that they should go to prison.
No, I said it's illegal or they're liars. That's what I'm saying. That was my question.
It's illegal or no? I'm saying under no circumstances is this illegal.
Okay, so they're dirty, disgusting lies. Then that's what you're saying because they're saying it's not about regime change.
I said this was a blatant breakage of the campaign promise. This is a lie. Yeah.
No, not just the campaign promise. The reason they're doing it, they're lying to the American people.
No, I think they're telling the truth, and they say it's for regime change.
No, they're not. Trump came out and said it, and then the administration is coming back and saying, no, we have these congressional authority not for regime change.
I'm trying to listen to you.
I'll bring up quotes. It's fine. I'll cut this down.
Bring up quotes. Thank you.
Well, this is what we were talking about earlier with Marco Rubio, right? Is that Marco Rubio is making the claim later after Donald Trump says that it's about regime change is that Israel was going to attack with or without us, and then we would have had increased risk of our soldiers and property and military installations
both can be true.
In the area. And so therefore it was a national security risk not to partner with Israel in this attack so that we could, and that's specifically why we were supposedly bombing their missile sites, etc., because that would reduce the damage.
So to Gibbs's point,
that is the kind of,
we got
and then that's what it's about.
Yeah, both can be true, right? Because I watched
into it.
We did.
Yeah, I was just clarifying.
I was talking to Gibbs, Mr. We're so powerful. We didn't make this decision. We got dragged into this decision.
Yeah,
but a country the size of New Jersey.
Well, hold on. First of all, that's why they're there, is to go pick the fights for us. They get started.
They didn't pick the fight for us.
Oh my God.
They dragged us into a fight.
Wait, that's what you mean. That's exactly. That's a different distinction.
I watched the speech. Trump does start off by saying that like he's doing this to protect Americans from the attacks of Iran, and then near the end he reaches out to the Iranian people and is like, now is the time to seize your government. You may never have an opportunity like this again. So yeah, I think both are. I mean, you can absolutely make the argument that regime change is necessary for national security. You can say that the reason for this was not regime change, but hey, we want that too. We're tacking that on at the end because why the fuck not? As long as we're blowing shit up anyway.
That way, like you can just say national security for like any reason.
Correct.
Wait, hold on. I'm from a purely legal point of view here. I am telling you, this tends to be the case. This was Obama cited reason when he blew up shit in Libya. I mean, this was Thomas Jefferson's reason when he sent the fucking Navy. Like, Commander-in-Chief has tremendous authority when it comes to doing this shit. I mean, there's no declared war in Korea.
Is this any better? Or is it much
better?
That's better.
Oh, no, it's much better. A lot better.
Much better. Much better.
All right. I hate
slowly
you.
but surely making improvements.
Yeah. Okay.
I do have a question because there is a lot of many of us here that are like kind of on the right wing side of things are against this war. I know Lactoid is. I know myself are. I think even Abby, correct, right here is like tepidly for the war. If I think is like the right description. And I think
more of a moral standpoint for me.
Right. My problem here is it feels like, and I'm not trying to drag this into ANCAP territory, I promise, right? Just let me get this
You're
out.
never
He
trying.
says right before he drags us into
Well, I mean,
NCAP.
that's my primary goal is proper philosophy that I believe is
Kevin.
that, right? So I mean, it's going to go there sometimes, but I'm not trying to drag it there. But I simply ask this, which is philosophically speaking, when we were talking about the justification war, it feels like we've gotten into this like who's lying? They're all fucking lying. Okay, that's fine. Like let's just put that on the table. They're all fucking lying. And there was a conversation that I thought started off interesting that we got away from, right? Lactoid kind of began it with his opening on like what are the moral justifications of war, right? And he said something very akin to what, John Stuart Mill said, right? Which is that you cannot bomb. He basically said you can't bomb. He didn't use those words, right? Because that wasn't the main kind of force of invasion at the time. But he basically said you can't bomb a country into democracy, right? That but in order for a country, and this is like kind of the quintessential liberty loving consequentialist of the time, right? Is J.S. Mill. And he says, the people have to be willing to labor, danger, and something else for their freedom and liberty. And if you see that, then there is a moral justification for, an interceding force, because it is obvious that the people desire that aid in securing their freedom. And so I don't know that I disagree with this, right? But trying to understand philosophically is like an issue for me, because I don't know that I've ever seen a country that this more applies to than Iran. I don't know that there is a country where massive demonstrations of unarmed people and where they have fought and protested into grave risk to the best of their ability to let the outside world know that like we want this government gone. Maybe there's a better example throughout history, but this seems to be one of the best, and it's right now. And like, I guess my question is philosophically to the people that are opposed to this war, as I am, but consider themselves lovers of the concept of democracy. Where is this calculation when you have a people that are very clearly have no capacity for democracy, had it at one point, maybe obviously not a perfect democracy, there is no such thing as far as I'm concerned, but had a democratic government and have lost that, and a majority of the people want democracy again, genuinely, not a bullshit campaign slogan like Bush stated in Iraq, but genuinely have been showing for years that they are willing to fight for democracy and they lack the weapon and tools. How do you square this circle of my highest value is the democratic will of the people, and then there is this giant country that is begging for it, and it's going, oh, but Israel bad. It seems like there isn't like your own philosophical stance is kind of like washing away via your hatred of the U.S. empire and Israel, which I share, but I don't understand how you can remain philosophically consistent there.
So I'm going to jump in. I really want to hear what everyone has to say, right? So I imagine other people. My stance is mainly, anti-imperialist, right? I think you understand that. I think I've proven that over the years.
Right. Iran is kind of an insular empire, right? An empire and a small empire in the region, just with less power than us.
Yeah. These interventions prove disastrous. Is that like, I don't think, I mean, again, is like it goes on to what you were just saying, that like it's not just simply that you can't bomb them into democracy, right? Like the thing that gets people to rally around the flag is being invaded, right? If America gets invaded, all of a sudden, like a lot of Trump's ills, right? His deficiencies, like they go by the wayside. I gotta defend my homeland. People don't want bombs to be dropping on their neighborhoods, right? It's crazy to think that up support, right? Like people are, or at least a lot of people, most of the country, there's always going to be a few, right? But most of the country is going to be cheering for this outcome. There could be thousands dead in Tehran right now, thousands dead, right? I know our friend Gibbs doesn't care. He's made that clear, right? But the Iranians might care a little bit about that. So, I mean, that's part of it.
can
let me
I
give
clarify?
you a hypothetical.
Can I clarify though? But like, what
I
if?
think you're probably going to
Right,
go
because
where I'm going.
I've heard from a lot of sources of, but again, getting communications there, it's all like,
It's very
here's a
difficult.
text message from a random
It's rough.
person, right? Like,
Yeah.
so, but like, let's just play
Random
like a
WhatsApp
what if
text.
scenario. What if it is, right? If democracy is this big value that philosophically many left wing or liberal people hold, right? And right, what if there is a lot of people, a majority even of people, that are living under such an oppressive regime that they are now at a breaking point where they're willing to walk out of the house with no hijab on and risk rape, risk death, risk torture because their country is so broken by this regime that they're actually willing to accept the deaths from bombs if it gives them a chance to overthrow this empire. And I'm not saying that is true. I'm saying, but what if it is true? Does that change the calculation?
In a vacuum, I think it does, right? In a vacuum where if we can design a hypothetical, one of Lactoid's ridiculous hypotheticals, we can design a hypothetical where we get sorry, Fred.
I don't know if that's the truth. That's the sense that I get. But I mean, we're all in an echo chamber.
I think what you're doing is you're looking at a risk analysis, right?
Hold on one second. So we can say that yes, there could be a scenario in which it's exactly as you said, right? There's a popular groundswell support. They even want intervention, right? In a vacuum, okay, well then if we give them intervention, then we've given them what they wanted. But looking at actual history, looking at how these things actually play out, we give them this intervention, right? And then who does this benefit? First of all, it does benefit Israel. It takes Iran off the board as a major player there, right? Which is exactly what they want. But like, who gets put in charge, right? Like, will it be an American puppet? Because if it is an American puppet, we'll be right back here, right? Like, what they don't want.
Who could we put in charge that would be worse than the current regime for the people of Iran? If democracy is a big value,
we can put an Israeli viceroy in charge, and things can get worse. Like, it's weird that we're like now the argument is like, well, could we imagine a scenario where more people die? Right? Like, yeah, North Korea is worse than the fucking.
Can I give it a shot?
1 second. Yeah.
Well, North Korea is only worse because they're not on our team. So
yeah, North Korea is worse. It is worse.
Like, what are we doing here? Wrong. Like, what are we doing here? Like,
all right, 1 second. Let me just finish this. North Korea is worse than the Iranian regime, right? They have factual concentration camps. They got camps where, like families, like prison camps, where generations of families live, work, and die. Right, that's where you go, and that's where your kids are raised in that concentration camp, and you're just like work you to death. Right, it's an awful place in North Korea, but apparently that's not enough reason for us to intervene there. Right,
they have nukes.
I think
they got the bomb now.
They have nukes.
Because
what will actually happen, right, in the real world, outside of any hypothetical, what will actually happen is that we'll have 10, 15 years of peace, maybe 20 years of peace. Then there's going to be another uprising. The Middle East is filthy with uprisings, and we'll be
AI uprising in 15 years.
Of Iran having access to ballistic missiles and enriching uranium, like, is better.
Yes, hold on. I'm going to make this point.
That was obliterated last year.
I'll make the point.
I'll bite the bullet. I don't even know Prime's position on this one.
Yeah.
I've heard.
Well, I'll bite the bullet on this one, right? Hey. The Iranian within American media, they make it seem as like, oh, if Iran got the bomb, oh my God, we'd all be in danger. Well, like, how can we even survive, right? New York is going to be obliterated. It's nonsense, right? Iran, how many countries has Iran invaded? Right, like has started. How many?
We would most likely have another North Korea, which you just said was worse.
Zero.
We would likely have another North Korea, which you just said was worse.
Iran is going to invade every country all throughout the Middle East.
Bombs.
They have
hold on, that's silly.
They have proxies everywhere.
Iran has not taken any territory
because they can't.
Neither did North Korea.
So
And you
yes,
just said North
exactly.
Korea
Yes,
was
exactly.
worse.
Hold on, wait.
We said North
Abers, is
Korea, and we're
your,
not
wait, is
invading
your
North
argument?
Korea.
Wait,
So
wait,
that's not
Abers,
a
is your
factor,
argument that
right?
anyone
Try.
that anyone we
It
don't want or
matter.
know has nuclear bombs we should attack?
Hold
I
on.
think anyone who like wants to murder their citizens in the street,
None of
then
that.
yeah.
But
I'm taking a moralist
Israel has a nuclear bomb, and they've just committed a genocide. We
They're
watched
not
them do a
murdering
genocide.
their
Can I-
citizens
can I-
in the
can I-
street.
Hold on.
Can I-
Those are
I
their
mean, if
people.
they
Those are
claim
their
that land is
people.
theirs, so technically they are. Those are their
Under
citizens.
care, right? That's why those UN laws apply to them, because they
No,
they're
they don't apply to the
occupying these
UN.
individuals,
So
and they genocided them. That's what's happening, and they're stealing more land. That's what they're doing, and they're expanding their borders. Right? Israel has a bomb, and Israel isn't part of the nuclear non-proliferation treaty. Israel's not part of that.
Technically, they
Iran
haven't
is
told
part of
us they
that.
have a bomb.
Technically, they don't have a bomb.
Yeah, whatever. They have many
We'll never
bombs. Right?
tell.
Let's be done with that. And they stole that technology. And Israel, our great ally, stole that technology from us and then shared it with Russia. Israel, our great ally, stole our nuclear secrets and shared those nuclear secrets with Russia. That's our great ally. So when you're saying like,
Oh, that's not confirmed. It very well.
Yeah, they did.
KGB. We had there was two. There was two Americans that wanted Russia to have the bomb because they didn't want America, right? Like, so it's like
there are more than one type of nuclear secret. It's not just like getting the bomb. Like
no,
other nuclear
right.
secrets.
I'm saying it's a little more complex than just like Israel gave Russia the bomb, right? Like that's
sure.
not really
But Israel was
Yeah.
involved leaking nuclear secrets to Russia. I didn't say that, right? That's
right.
exactly
It's
what I
and
said.
Russia's leaked nuclear secrets to a lot of people as well. Yeah.
I mean, wouldn't you want to
And so,
know how
Russia
that shit
isn't
was
our
made?
ally or our
Brian?
best ally.
Yeah, I would make. I'd make the point that actually and this is a point I'll make. The Middle East would be safer. If Iran had the bomb. I'm done with nuclear proliferation in general, right? But specifically with Iran, a regime that proved one that they aren't aggressive in the ways that Israel is aggressive. They aren't aggressive in the way
No,
that
they just like
America
to
has been.
How did they
aggressive.
prove that?
Israel's
With
been
all the
Name one other
proxy
country in the
wars?
Middle East besides Israel.
So
Off the bat.
if there was, come on, like Netanyahu said, peace through
Did
strength.
you just call me
Peace
Hun?
through strength. So what? Israel
He
said
said one. He's going down a list.
Okay.
Israel said, so Netanyahu said, peace through strength. I agree, right? Yeah, if you are strong, right, then others will not attack, right? That'll be the deterrence. If Iran had the bomb, yes, it would be safer in the Middle East, right? Because Israel would have a counterpart, and they couldn't do the things they were doing. They would actually not be able to run the wars that they could. All right.
Maybe.
So
But
hold on.
you said
let's go.
that Iran has proven that they are not
No,
aggressive.
hold on.
How can
I
you?
was
Hold on,
gonna
hold on,
say,
hold on,
that's
hold
a
on.
false
Come on.
premise.
Hold on,
Prove
hold
it.
on.
They're not taking.
Lauren,
I think he's
you
saying they're not
So the
taking.
proof
Hold
is
on,
they're not
hold on.
aggressive.
Yeah, they're
There's a
not
bigger issue
aggressive
than all
like
that.
Israel's
They're
far more
funding
They lack
terrorism
power.
all over the world.
I just want you
Yes,
to name
exactly.
another country besides Israel.
There's hold on. There's a
So
hold
if
on.
you give
Hold
them
on.
power, why would that make them more peaceful?
No,
Hold on. There's
sorry.
there's a bigger problem here with this
This whole
prime.
terrorism
Let's-
stance is getting really.
No,
like,
well, I'm not even-
boring.
I'm not even gonna
Like,
use terrorism.
Terrorism around the world doesn't mean anything.
No. Forget all that. This is why I said the North Korea thing.
Yeah.
Listen, there's
That's what
two.
I'm saying. Forget all that.
There's sides in the world. There's factions. I don't know if y'all
We're doing
realize
terrorism
this.
too. So what's
If
the
you
issue?
realize this, yeah. And this is why I said this with North Korea. If North Korea was on our side, guess what? They wouldn't be so bad. But guess what? Iran's not on our side. So guess what? They need to get fucked. And when y'all sit here and act like, hey, our goal is democracy, democracy would be a happy side effect. The goal is destabilization. That's the goal.
Exactly.
We destabilize the region, and if a democracy gets put in place, yay! A puppet gets a puppet gets put in place, yay! I'm okay with either one. I don't give a shit. Or if oh no, it's ISIS Junior. Oh, well, guess what? ISIS Junior can't develop a nuke. They're a lot weaker. Oh, that sucks for the people over there. Well, then too bad. Don't fucking be on their side no more.
Exactly.
Yeah, but
That's not
too
the
many
point.
people are pretending that they're like, oh, we're moralists. We're doing this for shit. No, it doesn't matter what the moral reasons are. It doesn't matter because it is improbability. And the biggest reason and Prime's upset is because he is you do like multipolarity. But the Wall Street Journal posted this yesterday, and they said Iran is Iran invasion has pretty much deemed multipolarity never going to happen because now that we've taken out the key energy output to the people that were going to rely on these people for their energy for the multipolarity. So now it's like
China
you
doesn't
forced.
rely on Iran.
Oh yeah, they definitely rely on that oil right now.
They rely on Iran.
What
Oil.
percentage of energy does China get from oil?
Well, they would get like 80-90% of the oil from Iran. You don't think that's going to hurt
No,
the
no,
economy?
that's not my question. That's not my question. Let me try to be clear. What percentage of China's energy production comes from oil?
I don't know, Corey Pidley, but they're getting a proportion of their shit from oil.
That's a valid point. You're just saying.
No, he's not right. How much oil are they getting from Iran? Is it getting? Are they getting 70-80%? So okay, so whenever they're not getting oil, does it hurt them? And part of that goes to energy, correct? It hurts their energy sector.
1 gallon.
Yeah, if it's 1 gallon of oil, that doesn't go there. It hurts their energy sector in some capacity. Yes or no?
Glad I could be of help.
Yeah, but Gibbs.
Oh, then I rest my case. We're being over semantics again. It hurts them. They're our enemy. It doesn't need to be bigger than that. Y'all argue about percentages. We have percentages to give.
But friend, this is important. Hon,
I hope it's 0.1% for the point of this point. That's all that helps. I know it's not, but I'm saying y'all are over here getting too deep. I'm like, what percentage? It can be 0.01% for all I give a shit. That hurts them. If it hurts a 0.0,
say that, but then don't misframe it.
I mean, I'm not misframing all. You're the one misframing and saying I have to pick a percentage point. If it's bad for them, it's good for us. It can be
okay. But it might. But hold on, maybe
it's just that simple. Like
because it's accelerating.
Oh, is it good for the Iranian regime to get bombed?
Accelerating.
I didn't know it was good for them.
Their energy transformation. They are far
less. Good. It's one less group of people on their side, though. Either way,
they're making the green revolution in China. It's happening right now.
Let them try.
Not America in China right now.
Let them
try.
Let them try. Let them give it a crack.
They're doing it.
They're succeeding correctly.
So is Texas. I'm not worried about it.
So it's fine, and I agree. In Texas, Texas is actually doing a good job there. But anyway, but I agree with Gibbs. I want to throw this to Lactroid. I want to throw this to Bam because I think they both want to say something, and Doobie because I'm sure he has something to say as well, right? That
I'm just curious about the value of democracy in this conversation.
Because
the value is zero, Freddie. The value is zero.
I know that's not your position, right? It's an internal critique of those that presumably value democracy.
Yeah. I
get your critique. It just doesn't matter in the real world.
Better than I could.
I agree with democracy.
Right, but the question isn't for you, Gibbs.
Yeah. So, but I agree with democracy, but I do agree with what Gibbs is saying, and that none of that actually matters in terms of what will actually happen in the real world, in the practical world, outside of a hypothetical. Right? We're not looking to put a democracy in place. Right? That's not the point. The point is, like Gibbs said.
So, are you willing to abandon democracy as a large value of yours?
No, I'm not abandoning it.
So it does value to you.
No,
that's the highest.
We can support them through other ways other than invading. We can support them through other ways other than invading.
That's not the question. You're contradicting yourself.
No, we could not.
Hold on, pause.
But if you leave the hypothetical in place and it has to be an invasion, right? Then it forces us to a binary, right?
There is no invasion.
No. Hold on. Let me just clarify, right? So there's no confusion, right? My position as an internal critique is about the concept of democracy as like a highest order or one of your highest values, right? And Gibbs's position is that it doesn't matter at all. And then you say you agree with that, right? But the problem I'm saying here,
the goals of the nations. That's what I mean.
Right. But okay. So you're not contradicting yourself. Democracy is a large value, and if you were running the ship, right, then that would be an important element in your justification of whether or not you invade another country. Correct?
Sure.
Okay. So then we would have to have a conversation about that, and that's what I'm asking about.
Okay. Let's go to Lactoid. Let's go to Bam, and then Doobie.
Yeah, I'll answer the question directly. I have said on multiple occasions, self-determination of a people's, I think, is a good thing, and again, given the alternatives, I suppose. And that's why I said on the first prong, my 2-prong test, Iran, this may very well pass in the sense of, let's say, like using your hypothetical, you have a large group of people who is desperately craving freedom from the Iranian regime. Yeah, I get that, right? Am I gonna I'm not gonna quibble if there was a clear strategy. If there currently was different forces within Iran that have risen up and are seizing government buildings and are promising a specific government type that is better, right? And they've organized and this is their thing, right? We are separating. We're not even separating, but we're taking over. We're replacing. We are this regime is evil, and now we have a very clear goal. We need your help. I could be sold, depending on how much steam that movement had, I could be sold. Okay, fine. We launch the bombs. We destroy the IGRC. We get involved at that point, assuming that, of course, the cost is low enough to justify the action. I can be sold on that. And there's circumstances that I have been sold on that. I am sold on that when it comes to the American Revolution. We didn't do that shit on our own. The French sent generals. The Spanish sent guns.
Can I clarify? Can I ask a clarifying question, right?
Go ahead.
Because it's a two-parter. Number one, what if Iran is exactly what Iran is, right? Which is the population is completely unarmed and they have an oppressive regime that is very good at cracking down on any movements, isolating their internet, isolating their communications, and rounding up and murdering anybody that disagrees with them. So that the scenario you laid forward is essentially impossible. Follow up, if that is a standard for U.S. intervention, would that not then be an incentive for institutions like the Department of Defense, the Department of War, right, and programs like USAID and things like that, where they spend U.S. tax dollars to try and change media institutions, messaging, communications, apps, etc., in order to foment revolution, like they did in 2014 Ukraine and like they did with the Arab Spring. And so wouldn't it be an issue for you under your moral framework that you don't necessarily want to get involved unless that revolution is already beginning? And wouldn't that standard cause the very problems that we've seen in other countries with our own government meddling in the affairs of people to try and cause those things as a justification for war?
That is a risk, and I guess I'll address the two. I see it as a two-part question. What if everybody's unarmed and they can't do shit? Or this is sort of similar to saying, what if the government has arms beyond capacity of what any kind of revolutionary force could have, and they're just going to win, right? Or the amount of force
keep oppressing forever and ever and ever.
And
Death
we're
toll
sort of
keeps climbing over the years.
Yeah. I think that you can. It's difficult because I think you can hit a point in which, and I don't think Iran is at this. They're horribly repressive and authoritarian. I think that you can hit a country can hit a point where, where unilateral action might become justified. But again, I would need like the kind of consequentialism. I would need to have like a very terrible situation sold to me. And the part of the problem is a lot like
wouldn't it always reach that point though at a certain point? Because if we assume all other things being equal, that the death toll and the oppression and the sadness continues to climb as future years are considered? Because if you're a consequentialist, you have to look into the future as well. And so all of the evidence points that Iran will stay this way. Wouldn't it logically eventually reach that point at some point? So we should intervene now to stop that?
You could argue that, like, you can make just predictions on, for the foreseeable future, XYZ bad's going to happen. I do think that you need to compare that to the cost now and the possibility that, as does happen, systems of government moderate. And there's also the potential of blowback that we've been talking about this whole time, in which a situation gets worse through U.S. involvement. And there's also the situation of what happens when the enemy, the bad guy, has a weapon that is just too too fearsome to get involved with North Korea, for example.
Like autonomous AI weapon targeting systems.
This is why we need it first. But in North Korea, for example, they can just nuke Seoul, right? And that basically cuts out any kind of real hope that we have to be able to go in there and fix that problem. Fair enough. And I'm sorry. I would love to help liberate the people of North Korea. I think North Korea is probably the closest example you have of a people who are so horribly just oppressed that they really can't do anything about it. But they got the bomb. Sorry, they got the bomb. I don't really know what we can do about that. And in fact, the serious thing about Korea is we actually would have, I think, a pretty decent plan on what to do. Right? It comes under a South Korean provisional government and slowly gets reintegrated with the rest of Korea. That would be the plan. But they got a nuke. So I don't really know what we can do there.
Yeah, that's the point. We missed the boat.
Stop that. They chose not to.
You can argue, right? We can argue we missed the boat, but then there's also the problem of without evidence that a nation is on the cusp of getting the bomb.
No, we don't need the evidence.
Here goes the evidence. Yeah.
Who gives a shit about that? Like, the only reason why we need to do something is we can.
Talk about evidence.
Gibbs, you can go too far the other way too. You can go too far the other way too, because in the same way that you might want to step in to prevent a horrible power from getting advanced weaponry. I get that. But you can't just say, well, this country's always going to be getting this advanced weaponry, so we can justify anything and everything to them.
Yeah.
We've been saying Iran's on the cusp of getting a nuke for how fucking long?
I know it's a long question, but the second part, What is your opinion on the second part and how it might incentivize
U.S.
U.S. aid, Department of War, etc., to use
Foundation
algorithms
for
and media to foment the very revolution that gives the justification for war?
This is right. This is difficult for me. I think generally I'm just opposed to like government taxation to then use for these, I guess, large scale projects. But at the same time, like I'm very hesitant to get involved to tell somebody whether an idea they hold or a value they hold is legitimate or not, just because somebody influenced them into having it. All people and all powers are constantly engaged in some kind of, the critical word is propaganda. The positive word is influence, perhaps value influence. And so, the question is, for example, Scott, you're spending a lot of time, as am I, propagating our ideology that we find to be good and beneficial. I think it's fair to expect nation states to do this too. And if people begin to agree with that, I don't know if they're necessarily wrong just because somebody had the intent to get them to believe this. So I don't know if I would really if a group of people wants to have a different form of government, I don't know how much I would really say, well, the only reason you want to, not behead homosexuals is because America told you to. Maybe, but so what?
Let's go. I gotta let some other people in. Sorry. Let's go to our friend Bam, Doobie, Gibbs, Ali.
Yeah, I think that again, it seems like we went down this line of this hypothetical. This ended up happening in another conversation too, but it just doesn't seem to be the most likely event based on track record and history. Like if one regime change is hard, no matter how you do it. It's not an easy thing to do, even if it goes right. The United States doesn't have a fantastic track record of it to begin with, but you're definitely not going to do it by doing a strike and then communicating actually with the existing regime about a peace deal that ends up maintaining the existing regime. And it also doesn't help us at all that the unfortunate, well, it's not unfortunate, well, it is an unfortunate reality, is you want this to be a one and done. Well, I guess a two and done at this point, and you can't do that because the United States is unfortunately has no leg to stand on and no reason to be trusted. Let's say because 6 months back in June, we made an agreement that we wouldn't do this again, and then we just decided to 8 months later. I promise you, if we actually decimated their nuclear sites the way we're claiming, or the way we originally claimed they did, then
obliterated.
They weren't at a point. Obliterated, yeah.
Exactly, obliterated.
We weren't at a point 8 months later that would have justified this strike, no matter what they were doing. So we ended up breaking the deal. The United States is time after time after time, at least in regards to Iran, broken promises and shown that Iran has no reason to negotiate with the United States in good faith.
Well, I understand your argument, but it doesn't. You said I dismissed the hypothetical because I just don't think regime change could ever work, or doesn't.
Not because it can't ever work. I dismissed the hypothetical because I said it doesn't seem to map on with the reality or something that could be properly quantified.
I disagree.
I
disagree.
I'm telling you, and then you could disagree. Because there was a misunderstanding.
Wait, well, I'm trying to get you to engage with the hypothetical in terms of the value structure and the belief in democracy. So even if it wasn't true, I'm still asking a question about the philosophy that undergirds this, because the question is
to be about your question.
But the prompt itself is about the concept of justification for war. So like it's not like I'm like all off base by saying, well, like let's look at the value structures.
I think we engaged in it,
and like
I'm saying, to continue to.
I don't think you engaged with it at all by just saying I don't think the hypothetical matches.
I think that Lactoid gave you a pretty in-depth answer.
I think Lactoid did. Yes, Lactoid is obviously doesn't have the same political opinions
that was
as
20
you.
minutes, but why do we have to continue it now? Can I talk about what I want?
I mean, if Bam wants to talk about something else, then Bam wants to talk about something.
Yeah, sure. I mean, if you just want to ignore the hypothetical, but I mean, like it is what it is.
Because your hypothetical frame is framing the entire conversation. Like,
can you think of a different country where the people have more clearly shown that they are against their current government?
For sure. So it would be like if we were having a conversation about the danger of nukes, and then I forced everyone to have a conversation like, what if when the nukes hit, everyone got really happy? Like, what if everyone was happier about that? And then you say, like, I don't know if that's the case.
No,
It's
these
like,
are completely
let's just engage
disanalogous.
with that.
It's completely disanalogous.
Yeah, sure.
Because we're having a conversation about the justification for war.
Let's move
And I'm
past.
saying that Iran. Can you name if that is true, right? Can you name
I don't.
a single country in the world right now where the people and the relevant data that we have are more against their current government?
Quantify relevant data in this situation.
Lebanese people hate their government, so I don't know if that counts.
Because I don't know if you. I don't
Guess
know
who's government? Who's that government's ran by?
Like two governments, really. Like they have Hezbollah.
Hezbollah's Iran. So thank you, Ali, for proving my point.
It's a Christian president in Lebanon. So
yeah, but he's Hezbollah's bitch.
Actually, no.
Hey, we're gonna let Bam finish, please.
Okay, I'll even deal with my issue and why I chose not to engage with it, because there's levels of leaps that you have to take from. You're saying from what relevant data? Like you're saying that like, oh, we can find data that shows that they don't like their regime. Sure, I believe you can find data that shows they don't like their regime.
But they want it toppled.
Wait, just let me talk. You don't have to. I don't want to go back and forth. I just want to talk.
Right, but don't straw man my position.
They don't like their regime is a bit of an understatement.
No, it's not. It's just a statement.
No, when somewhere between 60 to 90% of the people want the regime toppled, that's very different than we don't. Like if we ask Americans, do you like the current administration? Right, like that's not the same question, right? Like that doesn't mean they want the Trump administration toppled and completely
deconstructed. If I use the word topple, will you shut up? Well, if I use the word topple, can I continue what I'm saying? That wasn't the point.
I give up. I give up. I give up. You're not going to engage in any honesty.
Thank you. Stop talking. They say you want the regime toppled. They say you find that 99% of the people want the regime toppled. I don't think you can then turn. Again, I don't think that data exists. But let's say that it did. I still don't think you can take the logical leap to decide that the United States coming from the sky dropping bombs would make people these people happier, freer, and larger fans of democracy. And there also is no there are no other powers in place in Iran with enough firepower or support to end up actually overtaking this regime. So what we're doing isn't leading to any of the better outcomes to the hypothetical that you're even seeking. It just makes it actually doesn't. I won't even say it makes things worse. It's at best a wash, because we're gonna put in force someone from the exact same regime, and we know this because we have a track record with what they did with Venezuela. They took out the leader of Venezuela, and did they topple the regime? No, Trump has too much pride for that. He didn't want to bring in the lady from the Nobel Prize that the people supported or whatever. He was like, you know what, we're gonna run Venezuela, and we're having great conversations with the current regime. So we did nothing. We bombed people for nothing.
No, they work for us now. We didn't do nothing.
We know this. I know this for a fact. At best, it's just a list of straw mans to avoid talking about your philosophical consistency.
So
it's fine.
No one
want to do it.
More intelligent people understood what I said.
So I want to.
I'm more intelligent, and I understood what you said, and then I spit it back at you.
I'm gonna make a quick agreement with Bam.
Whatever.
Not like inviting you in your hypothetical, but just like on the subject matter. And it's something that like we just haven't actually dealt with, right? Because we don't, as Americans, right? Except for our friend Corey and Lactoid, right? As Americans, we look at the world like through our own lens, right? And through a lens of an imperial power imposing itself on everyone else, right? And then simply reacting to us. But we always forget all the time, every time, is that like all these governments that we're interacting with have internal politics. The moderates in Iran have been completely discredited, right? The exact people that you would want to empower, right? Those people have been discredited. Like they've been saying, hey, like the best way to get what we want is to engage with the West. That's what I've said this before on panel, right? That's what they said with Obama during the Iran nuclear deal, right? The Ayatollah at the time, I guess it's Khamenei. I'm assuming it was the same one, but I'm not sure.
He's been there since the 80s.
Okay, oh, excuse me then yes, then Khamenei, right? He told him, hey, you can't trust the Americans, right? This will they will betray you, right? But still the people had voted in, because we keep also forgetting that like Iran does have democracy, right? A limited one, because like only the candidates that the Ayatollah allows can run, right? So let's understand that. No, understand, but it's a limited democracy, right? But in any case, right? But
Limited.
within that system, right? Before they had what's his name, Ahmadinejad, right? That's the guy who was like the serious death to America, right? That was the hardliner who would go into the UN, right, and talk about how he has to massacre the Jews, right? That guy was pretty awful, right? He was voted out of office, and the moderate went in, and he went on a platform of negotiating, right? He said, I have an opportunity with Obama. I can see that, right? Let me do this. The people want him to do it, and they got it done. And then what happened? Exactly what the Ayatollah said. They got betrayed. And then that fell apart, and then just years of misery leading to this moment, right? The moderates also said, hey, we shouldn't have a bomb. Right, we should actually not do that. That would lead to more conflict, right? Instead, let's work within the system. Let's work within the nuclear non-proliferation treaty, right? Here they are being bombed. If they had a nuke, just like North Korea, they wouldn't be bombed. So, right, when we talk about it, all this is just to say is that when we talk about invading, right, to put a better person in place, who, right, the moderates who've been wrong literally the entire time. Or is it more likely going to be a hardliner who've been empowered for all these years of like straight betrayal? Literally, the U.S. bomb in Israel. U.S. bombs the negotiator last year. They were in the middle of negotiating with the United States when we bombed and assassinated the negotiators for peace.
Yeah, well, we didn't like those negotiators.
Who else is going to be in charge but the hardliners?
Well, won't be the ones that get bombed.
Well, didn't Aragorn also kill the negotiator when he went to the Black Gate?
They've also, the Iranian regime has also committed mass murder of all of their intellectuals and anyone that disagreed with them. I mean, literally 1 month ago.
Means that the Iranians were good. Fuck the Iranian regime.
That's not what I said. I never. Hold on. No, that's another straw man. I'm not saying that. I understand your argument, right? Which is that external pressure from the United States is going to have an effect on internal politics. And when we consistently betray the agreements that we set forward, and when we consistently lie, that this is going to take an insular and autocratic administration and potentially make it even more insular and more autocratic, instead of maybe potentially opening up some soft, moderates. But like moderate in this position, right, is like if we were to do like a political compass thing, right, is like you need a fucking magnifying glass to see the difference between the two, right? So like I understand what you're saying, right? This is the judicial. This is the head of the judicial, the head of the judicial department of the Iranian regime, February 8th, right? Those who make statements against the Islamic Republic from the inside are the voices of the Zionist regime in the United States, right? Like these are this is like any disagreement, any level of moderation, any critique of the Islamic regime, even from the Iranian people, is an act of working for the Zionists and the evil devil of America. Just like
you
can say maybe we push them a little bit more that way.
People are all working for the Russians or the Chinese, right? Like we bring them out when for political convenience, right? Just like what you're saying.
Who have we disappeared in prison for speaking at this point?
Wait a minute, we disappeared a lot of people over the last year.
We literally were arresting pro-Palestinian demonstrators, right? Putting them away with ICE. We specifically
that didn't happen.
Yes, we did.
Name one. Name one.
100%.
Go on.
Name one.
Countries' prisons.
Oh, you mean the terrorist guy?
It was what's his face on? I got to get
the one that was with
the guy from Colombia.
With
the guy from Colombia that was like
Mahmoud. The terrorist. He was a terrorist.
He was a terrorist. Wasn't an American citizen.
For terrorism.
That was that was bringing out pamphlets against him. That specifically advocated violence against the United States.
Sorry, hold on. Sorry, guys.
American citizen is one of many modifiers that is an issue with this guy. But specifically, what I'm talking about is when he said people from within Iran. He is talking about Iranians, any Iranians, okay, that speak out against the government in any way, shape, or form are a voice of, quote, the Zionist regime and the United States, the same United States that they're chanting death to America.
That's what we're talking about.
No, what I'm saying is that the difference between the moderate and the extremists in the Iranian regime is, I didn't say he was a moderate. Like, stop.
Then why are you
what I'm saying is that.
So yeah, I don't. Sorry, friend.
What I'm saying
is tiny here, right?
Is minute, right?
Yeah,
and that.
No, it's meaningful.
From our perspective, that's tiny, of course, right? Because we don't. Yeah.
From any perspective, it's tiny.
Hold on. Listen.
Wanting a nuke, not wanting a nuke.
I understand you. I understand what you're saying. You're saying there's the spectrum here is quite minute, especially from our perspective, right? We're not living under a theocratic regime. I understand that, but that's what change looks like within a busted system. That you're going to have to take baby steps, right? If those moderates had been empowered, if we had worked with those moderates, right? If we had shown that was
You're not
the
wrong.
way, then
I'll accept that framing. I'll accept that framing.
Yeah. Let's go to
especially if they're going to kill anybody who has a wider, like more disparate opinion. Like, of course, that opinion is not going to be publicized.
That's true too. That's also true. That's fair. Doobie.
I'm sorry. What was the question?
That's no question. I want to hear what you have to say. Doobie.
No, wasn't it? Didn't Scott have
like
a question that I'm supposed to respond to?
Oh, I guess you can answer Scott's question. Yeah. Scott, about like democracy and whatnot. You can repeat that.
Well, it's just
here's the question. The question is how bad until you get to invade.
Right. Well, I don't even need all of that. Right. Like, I'm just curious about the philosophical grounding from people that are presumably pro-democracy as like a major value of theirs. Right. To what, like, at what point is it worth the risk of all of the issues of the United States, right, to topple an extreme and oppressive regime? Like, separate the nuke, separate that, right? Like, and just like, and where is the philosophical position here? Is it just whim worship? Is it just consequentialism of arguing of different different things? And how does one claim like democracy is this big value? And I'm not saying you specifically do, right? If that isn't some form of the calculation of whether or not is justified to topple the Iranian regime.
This isn't the first time that the Iranians have rose up, right, against their own regime. I mean, in 2019,
well, they also rose up against the one we installed too.
1,500. Well, correct, but there was anywhere between 300 and 1,500 of their own citizens killed in 2019, and then again in 2022, there was another protest where they rose up against the regime.
Women life
another
freedom.
500 people, correct? Another 500 people were shot in the streets by the Islamic regime. And then this time, I mean, there could be anywhere between 10 and thousands of people. And from the moralist argument,
well, you can say who cares, but then you can't have that as like a value.
That matters.
Right? You can't say something is or
right?
isn't value.
It matters.
It matters that these people keep rising up, and there's nothing they can do about it.
Nation. Hey, okay, well, let me ask you this, right? Appers, hey, well, the slave revolts in the United States, the slave uprisings, right? Fighting for their freedom, when they were put down, when they were hung, when they were tortured to death, right? Would that have been justification for another nation to come in and liberate them?
Yes.
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 Okay.
Britain did this to like half the world.
100% yes.
Like, thank God for Britain and the whites.
Yes.
We ended slavery throughout the world.
Didn't we sort of do this?
You know?
Didn't we sort of do this to the southern
That
United
is
States?
absolutely justification
Confederacy?
for another country to come in and say we are liberating these people on behalf of humankind.
Okay,
we rescued the Jews.
That's your position,
right?
and that's at least consistent.
It just feels like. Well, I mean, I guess not fair. I was lumping you with Gibbs, but Gibbs was just talking about based about like the people that we killed. Like we don't treat foreigners like foreign people in foreign countries like human beings often. It just feels.
No, I'm
really
saying this was a human
particular.
emergency. What was happening in Iran, them shooting their own citizens in the street, was a human emergency. Everyone was in
and this is me. I don't know yet. Are you a fan of USAID? Yeah, I was curious.
Of the what?
USAID.
USAID in certain circumstances. I think that USAID can be used for good. I don't think that it's just this horrible, awful, disgusting thing. I think it can be used
I
for
agree.
good. I don't
Altruism
think
is
it
evil.
was
I
being used for
agree.
good is the problem. And
there you
it
go.
ultimately ends up that way. That's the reason that I think USAID ultimately failed, because it was doomed to fail. Anything you set up that way, people that seek power are going to ultimately gain control of that specific piece and use
the
it
iron
for
law
their
of
own
oligarchy.
reasons, not for others. Exactly.
Which is why you shouldn't have those programs to begin with.
Interesting. Well, not quite sure about that.
Correct.
But
correct.
Let's go to our friend.
It
Doobie,
can be
Doobie
used for
answer that
good, but it
question,
never is in the end.
Gibbs, I haven't forgotten about you. You're still on the list, friend. But Doobie.
Give me like 30 seconds.
Doobie thought I can get out of it. Look at that. That was clever. That was clever, right? Scott, could you ask your question again? Oh, fucking.
Sorry. You want to say something, Bam, while he's waiting?
Yeah. I like it. It's fine if this is the actual position, but it feels really particular that. And again, I don't know the girl. I'm sorry, I'm not saying your name. I just don't know you. Abers. Okay, yeah, I don't know you, Abers. I don't know your politic, and I won't pretend to assume things about you anymore. But it seems like the conservative movement as a whole, that's like I've seen the tweets coming out that this was like in the name of human rights justification, things like that, yada yada, and this just doesn't feel consistent with any of the political beliefs that they've shown over the last decade, really, but especially under this Trump 2 administration. The care for how we concern themselves with other countries and foreigners and their lives, USAID, like it just feels really, really rich to come out and say that like this was about protecting human rights. This was about protecting the United States.
I think my point is,
I think that's a divide between Gen Z conservatives and like boomers. I think Gen Z conservatives kind of do care. Like they're more like 90s Democrats. I think Gen Z conservatives.
The issue.
They're naive.
Well, yeah, sure. They're all fucking socialists as far as I'm concerned. I'm just
all
trying to shed light on it. I do
naive.
think
All y'all are
like
naive.
I think like
everybody.
In this circumstance, it's a good thing for moral reasons.
I'm just saying, like the Gen Z conservative.
Ali, I haven't forgotten about you. Okay, so hold on, Doobie, are you ready?
They're naive. I think they're.
Yeah, of course they are. They're young.
I mean, they're naive, but I don't think about on this issue. I don't think they actually care about people. No.
Doobie, are you ready?
I disagree, but that's okay.
I genuinely
maybe not. Okay, so let's go to Gibbs and then Ali.
Yeah, I mean, we're talking about a lot of philosophical shit. I'm not gonna talk about that shit. We need to change the subject to something real quick. I first of all, we live in the real world, and I think that I heard a lot of things about Pete Hegseth, right? How terrible of a leader he was, and how shitty he did with the oh yeah, he's a loser, But I gotta say, this whether you are pro, his position or pro what we've done, how they've done it under Pete Hegseth's leadership has been fucking impressive. First, they went into Venezuela and they dropped their dick and they took this guy out, and it was impressive. And then they came over here and they whooped everybody's ass in Iran. We've had 6 casualties and they've lost everything. I gotta say, outstandingly well done. When they'll judge out. Now, as for this
3 to 6, 6 is the high estimation.
Well, Well, if you're being casualties, I think we're at 8. Because that includes wounded.
I'm not talking about wounded. I'm talking about dead. Wounded should happen. Whatever. I'm talking about dead. Whatever. 6. Whatever. They've got thousands. All right. Cool. He's done an outstanding job. And so everybody that was bitching about him, shut the fuck up. Y'all fucking take it out on that one. Now, as for the other thing we got going on here with y'all's philosophy, none of this matters. And it's great we can talk about it. But even to y'all moralists, you're naive. The world doesn't work that way. It's great when morals coincide with reality, but reality is we'd be best friends with North Korea if they were on our team. But they're not on our team. So, they're the bad guys. Iran's the bad guys here. They got to go. Destabilization, it sucks for those people. Tough titties, boys. It's good for America. That's how the world works. Every administration does this, Democrat or Republican, except the Democrats.
So you deny the prompt.
I am
denying the prompt. Why show up for the conversation?
Because it needs to be had. It needs to be had. It needs to be had because you're sitting here talking about democracy, and not everything has to be a philosophical conversation. Sometimes with the prompt,
the question is inherently about justification.
Cool, and the justification is because we want to. That's the justification. I don't know why that's such crazy. It's not just, well, sure, I guess if you want to make it if you want to put it in that category, it's called what's doing best for America. And Trump's favorite thing has always been
define best.
Best is fucking.
What are the values that make how do you? Let's get into philosophy, right? Like you can't just say what's best.
I think
I
don't need to have a philosophy discussion to go, oh, these things that everybody knows is good, prices of oil going down, or oh, this is going to be a security over this region where we control it. Oh, owning this dictator, or any of these things that make America, our enemies being weaker. These are all best for America. Like it's not hard to figure out what I mean when I say that.
Right, but what you mean is whim. You mean values and temporary, right? But without them being defined, then you're just saying whatever. Like what you're saying is nonsense.
No, we're saying real world shit, and you're just like over here trying to take it to the meta that doesn't need to be there. Like y'all are sitting here trying to talk about the nitty gritty of the philosophical.
No, I'm saying you have no philosophical foundation.
There doesn't need to always be a philosophical foundation for everything. We can just talk about what's going. No, okay.
It's just words.
We can derive something benefits.
You're not in the real world.
Person benefits. A benefits. Person A benefits. Person B doesn't.
Logical consistency.
I just thought, it is.
You have no logical consistency. You're irrational.
Logical consistency is basically A to B to C. We don't need to go A to, well, what about what the people think about the T in China, talk about clouds.
A to B to C, but you can't define what A, B, or C is.
I've already defined it, bro. It's this personal status quo that benefits America, like, whatever that may be. And it doesn't have to be a philosophical
By what time
discussion.
frame? Is it high time preference? Is it low time preference?
Bro, this is the kind of bullshit nobody wants to talk about. We're talking about trying to talk about the real issues now.
You're engaged.
I don't want to talk about it. I'm saying that right now.
Okay, then let's go to our friend. Let's go to our friend.
No, I don't have anything because I don't want to talk about it. It's bullshit.
He's ready after that. So Ali, please. You've been waiting a long time.
No, do you want to let Doobie go first? I don't care.
I can go first. It's fine.
Yeah, go, Doobie.
Okay, so I got the question. My son needs some attention for a little bit. So basically, democracy is not a big value to me. Right? Not that important.
I know.
However, imagining it were, right? I think our track record on this is fucking catastrophic. It's
I agree.
It's terrible, right? So the reason we're in this situation in the first place is because we overthrew a round of democratically elected government in the fucking 50s. So the same shit in Guatemala. That led to like hundreds of thousands killed, decades of dictatorship. Chile. Same shit, overthrew their elected government. They got Pinochet, torture, disappearances, a fucking dictatorship. Iraq, one of the stated reasons was to bring them democracy. Well, like almost a million dead. Like anywhere from 600,000 to a million dead. Millions of refugees, another refugee crisis, ISIS, civil war all over the fucking place.
We did all right with provide comfort. Nobody remembers that one, but that's about it. In the last 100 years,
Germany,
the current
pretty good at
government
Germany and Japan.
The government right now and the people of Iraq are so aligned with Iran
and Arizona
that Trump is telling them they can't elect a person that it looks like they're going to elect. The guy the guy I forget his name. He ran Iraq previously. Trump's saying, hey, you guys don't get to have that guy, even if you democratically want him. Like so, I mean, fucking our track record is terrible. Even if that were a thing, I don't trust us to do it at this point, right? But I think the reality is that what we're doing right now, regime change, quote unquote, overthrowing a government, is not the same as bringing democracy, right? So democracy requires structure, requires like a state apparatus, it requires independent courts, a free press, civil society organizations, political parties, it requires like a stable rule of law. They don't have any of that shit. So and I don't think you get that shit by overthrowing the current existing government institutions. I think these are things that come through potentially decades of reformation, slowly progressing toward this thing. And it looks like
historically accurate, right? I mean, plenty of places throughout the world have had revolutions that establish democracies. You're living in one.
Well, hold on.
So you say, I don't think that happens that way. But obviously it does sometimes. Sometimes it doesn't. I agree. And America has a bad track record on the times it doesn't, right? And I agree that we had much better structures. We kind of winged it we kind of did it by the seat of our pants with Japan, and it kind of worked out, right? But Japan was a highly ordered society in a way that is somewhat unique, right? And it took a very long time to do it in Germany, right? So I don't disagree with anything that you're saying. But other than obviously sometimes that does occur because it's happened many times throughout most of European
I would
history,
argue that America's not an example of this, but I'm going to give it to you, right? Just because it's not really. I'll just say
France would be another example.
Vast majority of the time, it does not work out that way, right?
Yeah.
I'm fine with going there. So I think that what we're doing right now, and to be honest with you, I think the stated goal, regime change, getting the people to rise up, I don't think that's the actual goal. What seems to be the goal to me is to destabilize Iran, potentially
destabilize BRICS,
balkanize them. Yeah, balkanize Iran if they can, just cause chaos, topple the entire fucking thing, and what happens after that, not that important to them.
If it's stable,
exactly.
If it's stable, like hell yeah for America in terms of the elites and the corporations and the Trump administration, right? But if it's unstable, at least it's an unstable ripple effect that affects our enemies more than it affects us. So fuck it, we'll bomb them, and China and Russia will be hurt more than we'll be hurt, even though the whole world will be hurt.
So you did understand my whole point then. Thank you. Okay.
Yeah, but Gibbs,
it's retarded.
We shouldn't be doing
it's like cutting off your arm to defeat your enemy.
No, it's not retarded.
Like if
you believe in that.
Muslims coming in right now, this might cause another fucking refugee crisis. Millions of fucking Arabs
have you seen Persian women? I'm okay with that.
We've already seen how that plays out, right? It's not good for the native populations, right? So if you're afraid of that thing, this is asking for it again, I think. Right?
Cool, come on, we'll take the biddies
again, right? But and further,
are you really appealing to Gibbs's love of the native population in the country?
Further, I think that the reality is the United States doesn't really give a fuck about democracy either. Right? Maybe within our borders, maybe
we've been eroding ours for the past 100 years.
Yeah,
I don't know if that's
we're
true.
Allied. Hold on, we're allied with Saudi Arabia. It's a monarchy.
Yeah, but we've made them better. Right?
No, we fucking haven't. UAE, no.
Hey, women can drive now.
We've made them richer. We made them richer.
Women can drive. We have pressured the Saudi monarchy.
Israel's been governing like
I'm not sure about
millions of Palestinians in the West Bank with no voting rights for fucking like almost 60 years now. Bahrain. They crushed their own pro-democracy movement in the early 2010s, I think, with Saudi troops, I think, and we did nothing about that. So, the U.S. doesn't really give a fuck about democracy. I think it's been demonstrated.
The U.S. cares about markets. The U.S. cares about allies. That's what they care about. They don't give a fuck about democracy. Democracy tends to aid markets, and it tends to aid allies of Western powers more than it does others.
I just want to.
The goal is never democracy. Democracy is just usually a good
little bit.
Can I respond to this
a little bit on something? And I'll go to you. Even and that's okay with you, Ali.
Chad said letting women drive makes things worse.
But on that point, that's what. Okay, but I'm not going to say what they said. I'm not going to say what they said. All right. But on that point, this but that kind of encapsulates something, right? Because the thinking there, right, and the thinking that you guys just assumed is that the U.S. because of the interactions with us, right, because we're so great, that's why they did it. No, they have domestic policy themselves, right? They have domestic pressures. There was actually a protest there. They got famous protesters. Now, these things not necessarily aren't separate, right? Like Saudi doesn't live in a vacuum. It's domestic. There's no interaction with the West and whatnot, right? I'm not saying that, but let's not forget the actual domestic pressure, the actual activists who got literally put into a prison, right? So they if I remember the story correctly, this was the long.
Yeah, it's both. It's both. I mean, Riyadh Comedy Tour wouldn't happen without Western intervention.
Let me just finish the point, right? So, if I'm remembering the series of events correctly, and please forgive me if I'm wrong in anything, right? There was a series of women who actively broke the law, right? And they streamed it on Facebook or some shit like that. They were driving, right? By themselves and all that stuff. And then they get they get arrested, and then the regime capitulates. But a lot of those women stayed in jail, and some of them were fucking tortured, right? This is the push and pull of the domestic policy, right? The hardliners were fuck this, right? We'll give you a little bit, right? Just a little bit. The women can drive, right? And the MBS, right? MBS had pushed for the driving thing, right? But even MBS couldn't go any farther than that at the time. right? Because of the hardliners. And what's a bone to throw to hardliners? We're going to torture those women. We're going to torture those activists, right? So let's not understand. All I'm saying is that there are domestic politics involved, and not just say that, like, well, yes, the U.S. just gets to oppose this, just by interacting with them. But yeah,
I don't think we're denying the agency of activists or women or people within these other countries. I think we're just speaking from a U.S. perspective because we're talking about U.S.'s imposed war on Iran. We're speaking from the U.S.
The point
and
is
we
just
are the
like,
major
what are
power
the limits
player
of
in a
our
lot
power?
of things.
That's the only reason I'm saying.
But I'm just agreeing with you. Like I'm saying, like, yes, all of these things have a play, and the internal politics obviously has a play.
Yeah, I want to disagree on kind of this, what I see to be a little bit of flippant language of, well, America obviously doesn't support democracy around the world. That's just totally not a thing. I don't know if that's true, right? Like there is, we'll be critical of America when the time comes to be critical of America, but um, I think there's plenty of examples, and I'm sure I could probably find some meta-analysis from some lame academic somewhere. But I'm sure, like, Taiwan was not always a democracy. It was ruled by an authoritarian dictator
military
for a
dictatorship,
long
by
time.
my understanding. Yeah.
And now, perhaps it is that the U.S. pressure was looking for more efficient markets, and that's why it led to this. But hold on, I want to go through more examples because South Korea, another example. During the Korean War, they were not a budding democracy. They were a right-wing authoritarian government ruling with an iron fist. But once again,
Germany,
here's a country that
Japan.
You can go through. I think
we
all
lost,
of these.
But Vietnam.
I think Vietnam would have followed a similar trajectory had we won. I think South Vietnam would have been more democratic, obviously, than it was at that time. In fact, we removed some leaders within South Vietnam for being too anti-democratic and being too authoritarian. We moved off of backing Batista in Cuba because he was authoritarian and how he ruled Cuba. Now, that kind of backfired and we got Castro. But at the time, Castro was not selling himself as this like revolutionary communist. He was selling himself as more of a moderate. And that's why we backed off of defending Batista. So I think that America does have a track record, at least not totally. Obviously, we will still work with authoritarian regimes, of course. Nobody's ever saying that we don't. But I think that there is a kind of trajectory of countries that fall under the U.S. influence umbrella, which is they tend towards being better most of the time.
Can I maybe clarify my position a little bit on this in terms of what I mean when I say we don't really value democracy? When I say we, right, I'm talking about the proverbial we as in the whole of America, but more specifically, I think what I actually mean is those individuals in power, lying sack of shit politicians and very powerful people are also as just as other countries have internal politics, we have internal politics. One of the ways in which they justify their power is by selling the concept of the value of democracy. I think the American people actually do genuinely value democracy, even though I don't, right? I think that is a value that most Americans have. And so I think that the push-pull of that is that it's much easier to sell the American people the concept of going into war to get another power player there, wherein the rich and the powerful, whatever you want to say, like not that being rich is bad, but those that actually have influence and power, right? I don't think they necessarily value democracy other than maybe it's a little more stable and easy to contend with. But they do know that the American people value democracy. And because we live in a constitutional republic, in order to maintain the illusion and in order to maintain their power, they do favor democracies over other things when they can get it because it's easier to do and it's more stable and it tends to work out in their interests in the long term.
Yeah, I don't disagree with anything you just said, as long as it's clear to perhaps other people that I think that the overall effect of this is a general trend towards democracy.
It is a general trend toward democracy, yes.
Okay. Yeah, but that's fair. I mean, they're throwing a bone to the people, like, hey, look, I mean, it's going to be democracy, guys.
Hearts and minds,
when in reality, there's other interests at play. Of course, I think this is true. I think geopolitics is very often, first and foremost is nations acting within their geopolitical self-interest, and then there's other things that come afterwards to try to sell that, right? I think, I think what Gibbs does is he just takes the purist, cut out everything else, all the values. Let's adopt the mentality of which is Gibbs. I mean, not to be too critical of you because you're my friend, but it is. kind of a little bit
criticize your friends.
It's a little bit psychopathic, right? Like the pure nation state motive is usually pretty psychopathic, which is purely self-interest, ignoring all other interests, right? I mean,
well, if you were purely self-interest, you wouldn't be altruistic and you wouldn't bomb people unless it actually aided you.
Exactly.
Unless you were a sadist,
you'd be an ANCAP.
No, we just need to stop lying.
What if you were a sadist, Scott? Then it would be entirely within your self-interest to bomb.
I would say that then you would only be so if you were high time preference, because in the long term, right? Your pleasure and your joy from if I fucked over my neighborhood government, right? Well, then I'm gonna have a bunch of homeless people in my neighborhood, and then that's gonna affect me negatively, right? In the short term, but
I can fuck with them over there. I don't live there.
You live in a world economy, which is
but how much is that really?
Which is obviously proven by.
Though?
I mean, how much are sections affecting Iran, right? Being cut off from the world or destabilizing the world, especially when we're talking about the oil market, in the long term can have pretty deleterious effects.
I hear you, but let's say I'm a sadist and I'm enjoying all these videos of people getting bombed and I'm able to watch that. It seems like a small increase in the price of gasoline is a small price to pay for such riveting content.
Riveting content. No, I would say that being a sadist is not within one's own rational self-interest, right? When you talk about selfishness, you're talking about hedonistic pleasure, as opposed to what actually benefits your life is pure selfishness. And so does it benefit your life to have an addiction to gore that damages the world and potentially makes other people look at you like a sick fuck, or isolates your friends and family, or changes the way you behave? None of those things are actually within your own rational.
But how would we be able to tell from the outside?
I don't know, Gibbs? What do you think?
But how would you tell from the outside? Because let's say the exact actions, right, that you were.
This is the difference between an anarcho-objectivist and a pure objectivist, and this is why I have issues with the pure objectivist, right? Is that it's only in the domain of possibilities that are justifiable.
There's layers.
Well, it's real simple.
Yeah, I don't want to.
I can't answer this. One is Texas Independence Day, so remember the Alamo, remember Goliad. That's the point. Secondly, more importantly, it's just I feel like more people should just be honest. When we're talking about this kind of thing, I think
I'm super honest.
Yeah, I know you are. All right, that's not I'm saying some people, but I'm saying listen. I think everybody would benefit.
Yeah. We might be the two most honest people in this panel.
I'm saying this
deranged for it.
Yeah, they're you sound crazy. Listen, everybody would benefit under the new American empire. The goal is everybody should just be American, right? And then they can all be equal. We can assimilate them over time to the great American culture.
Will some of them be more equal than others?
He just wants communism.
And part of that is not to quote the communists, but for the greater good or some bullshit, right? We're going to just go in there and take them over. And that'll be the best. But we can't do that right now.
You heard that?
What we can do...
He's a filthy Tao worshiper, boys.
What we can do in the interim is destabilize the region, which allows us to gain more strength and benefit. And that's the bottom line.
We don't gain more strength. Wait, we don't gain more strength just because we destabilize the region.
We absolutely do.
I like that Gibbs is honest. I appreciate it, right? Because you're the only one that comes in here and goes, yeah, fuck it, bomb them. Who gives a shit? They fucked with us. We fuck with them.
Exactly.
We have the bigger guns. The people with the guns win. That's all it is. But then you have to contest with the fact that other countries also have guns, and if they use those guns, then they're also justified. And
let them try.
Go to war. Which is fine.
I think I found an inconsistency.
But it's not realistic, and also you're not the one who realistically suffers from it, except for the fact that when your country's
this is a big one.
as in he's not going to war, right? But Lactoid, you were saying we went and we people followed us in democracy and all in a few places that we overtook and so on and so forth. But it just doesn't seem to be the case in the Middle East that's what happens, right? We forget that the people don't necessarily want a democracy there. Like a lot of the diaspora wants the Shah instilled. 30% of the people want the Ayatollah, and then out of the 70 or 80% of the people that are opposed, a large chunk wants a king back. A large chunk wants their Shah back. So on and so forth. So it's not.
I don't know if too many want the Shah.
I think
I'm not sure they're desperate for some kind of super good democratic government, but I don't think that they want the Shah.
Well, I'm saying there's a healthy chunk of people who don't necessarily care about democracy so long as their country is successful and they can get some money in their pockets. They don't necessarily care about democracy there. So when we're going, and that's why when we go and we overthrow these places, we don't know what to do afterwards, right? So to Gibbs's point, yeah, we go and we have the guns and we can go and destroy the people. But then what do we do after we destroy the people? I know Gibbs, your whole thing isn't like nation or isn't more, but like your thing is kind of nation building, right? Your thing is going in and
my thing is more.
I'm not
Gibbs
down
is
for
just
nation
take the
building.
shit.
Yeah, but like wait, real quick. Let me just finish real quick.
Go
but like when we go to the Middle East, so look what happens now. We bomb Iran, and what does Iran do? Iran goes ahead and hits 7 countries around them. Like there's destabilizing the region, then there's the entire region being at war and actually causing like World War III, and then eventually us getting there because listen, at the end of the day, we have to protect our ally Israel, and that's like if Israel gets hit enough, we are going to
because Donald Trump does fall through treaties.
I do think just very super quick. I do think it is important if we're going to have this conversation about what the individuals look like when a regime is toppled, to recognize that Iran is different from the rest of the Middle East in that it is not a majority Muslim country, and that is a huge difference.
Yeah,
right.
Choice.
Like that is a huge difference.
Yeah, my issue wasn't that. I said
no, that's official Iranian government data, which is 99% of everyone is Muslim.
Yeah, I was saying that 30, like
20 Zoroastrians are there.
I was saying that 20 or 30% of the people are okay with the Shah and okay with the Ayatollah, but then a large portion of the 70%, 80% that's left over are okay with a Shah, with a king.
Right.
They're not necessarily
for sure. No, I'm not disagreeing. I'm not disagreeing. I'm just saying it's important to note that when we talk about Middle East.
The diaspora is very pro Shah. So
I think there are people who are nostalgic. A lot of the people that in America, perhaps there's maybe a higher percentage that are nostalgic for the Shah because they left at that time. I think that could be true.
A lot of them in the West.
I don't think that's.
Well, they also had the money to leave.
I don't think. Yeah,
and
that's
those
true.
people tended to be supportive of the Shah.
I also don't know what how many people like in the West even see the Shah coming back as even realistic. On top of that, and that's leaving aside, of course, all the people in Iran that I'm not convinced that they want the Shah back.
But even Reza doesn't. Even the Shah, even Reza Pahlavi doesn't advocate for their returning to a monarchy. What he advocates for is he's going to. I mean, this is what he advocates for. I'm just going to repeat his statement.
Yeah, the Israeli, the Iran Prosperity
Project. He comes
Project.
in and he says that he's going to, lead a transition party into a democracy of some kind, but it is kind of vague. So it's one of those things.
Yeah, the guy who hasn't been in the country for like 50 years.
Statement.
Yeah,
I'm just throwing that out there. There's no
transition's 100-year transition, guys.
Could he? Sure. Absolutely, he could get in there.
It's a 6-month
It'll be done in like 2 or 3 years. We do. It's like
he's not leading shit. I just
he's the face of whatever's going on.
He thinks he is. I know he thinks he is. He's not, and he's not gonna be. But to Ollie's
he's kind of the face. People are kind of chanting his name like he's the face.
I mean, there could be people behind him. He's the face because our government and the Israeli government keeps pushing him as a face, but he's got no support. Like this guy hasn't been in the country for like 50 years.
Hard at this point. He's this nostalgic relic that people will point to as a time in which it wasn't currently under the government. He's almost like a living statue in that way. I think that's sort of what he represents. But I sort of. But he's not like a realistic future face, I suppose. I don't think that whatever he says.
He's the propaganda.
It would be a horrible mistake to put him back.
Okay, we don't have to argue with the face means. We just move past that. Yeah.
Horrible idea to put him in power. There's other ideas that I think would be much more successful.
But Putin was the transition guy too.
Yeah, well, sure.
That was kind of my point. My point. I was like,
Let Toy finish his point on Doobie.
Your point of, well, maybe this just doesn't work in the Middle East, because you're right. All the examples that I brought up aren't in the Middle East. No. If this is part of the reason why the second prong to me is so important, like I want to see there actually be some kind of like coordinated indigenous movement amongst an area before we step in and support it, because you could be right. It could be that like the countries in the Middle East just aren't culturally ready for the kind of self-determination that I think that peoples deserve. It is possible. I really hope that's not the case. I hope they're better than that, but I could be wrong. That's a fair point. And if they are, then we should take a step back.
When you say like better than that, like when we're going in and we're just like overthrowing their governments, and then like you expect those people to just trust that the next person that gets instilled is like good for them or beneficial for them. Like why is it like that's not self-determination, right? That's them having, a government forced upon them.
Not
whether or not we call it democracy.
You're right. It's having a system forced upon them initially, but it's a system forced upon them that leads to the people, the human beings there, to have self-determination. The best, look at.
But it undermines the system itself.
Potentially. Yeah. Here, do you agree that
it's the flavor of that boot?
Japan, South Korea, and Taiwan. Would you rank these 3 countries as more democratic than Iran?
Yeah.
We put in all those governments and supported them, right? Using force.
Using force as in after World War II, we go in and
World War II, we obliterated Japan.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. We obliterated Japan and we forced that government on them. In South Korea, we went in during the Korean War and we I guess didn't force the government on the government, but we supported that government in the war against the North.
Okay, and
Taiwan, we've been supporting that government for how long?
This is a system that should continue for you. You believe that we should continuously do this, where it's like we find a country that we disagree with.
If it leads to better results, then maybe. But you're saying that the Middle East just doesn't.
Better results when, right? Because if I'm in support,
maybe it doesn't happen in the Middle East.
Better results for 20, 30 years. No, but you're still in support of the system that goes and tries to do
in
this.
Asia. It's worked out really well
at our detriment or our cost. Right, for maybe this will work. So this is my issue with Gibbs or even Abras in the conversation is that they're talking about it as if we're done. We did it, guys. We won. We don't have to worry about any we're not thinking about any unintended circumstances whatsoever. We're not worried about. We're not looking into the future. We just know that we won. But the issue is that we keep trying.
Well, what unintended circumstances? What do you think? What do you think? What do you think is unintended? If I go, oh, it's terrorist organization takes over, I'm like, that was one of the outcomes I'm okay with. That's not unintended. Right. I just that's weaker than what was there before.
For years we've been hearing about for years we've been hearing about Iranian sleeper cells, right? What if these sleeper cells now get active and then we have a bunch of Americans?
What if my uncle had tits? He'd be my aunt. I don't give a shit. Let him activate. Let him activate.
You don't give a shit because you might not have to deal with it. But what if you get shot by?
No, Austin was just hold on. Austin, Texas was just shot by maybe an Iranian sleeper cell. You got it. Who knows? I'm just saying.
Just a crazy dude.
Maybe not.
At what point are the terrorists in America just they're all waving the flag and just wear the shirt that says "I'm a terrorist here to do terrorism"? At a certain point, the flag and the shirt and the hoodie.
You show me that flag on Amazon, I will buy it.
But honestly,
oh my god, Doobie, while we have a lull,
I'm not kidding.
I don't know. I think Lactoid, I understand what you're saying, but I think that this idea, right, that we can just come in and because democracy is so great, we can just impose a democracy on people and they'll just welcome it with open arms. I really think that there needs to be you need kind of a foundation for that democracy to rest on. And in Japan, we did a lot of work to Americanize them, or to Westernize them, to just flood them with our culture, right?
Yep.
And we tried that in Iraq, Afghanistan, and it doesn't seem to have worked, right? And I agree. I think that one of the issues, if I remember correctly, with Iraq was and Afghanistan, is that we were kind of half-hearted. We wanted to work with the local warlords.
It's
reasons.
Like Charlie Wilson's war, right? It's like we wouldn't have had this problem in Afghanistan if we'd actually stayed there for 15 years to do what we did in Japan.
Gibbs wants 20, 30 years.
They kind of restricted.
Right. Well,
yeah.
For example, they wanted to work with local warlords and local chieftains, right? And keep them as part of the new government structure they're putting in place. But these guys were not fucking. That was a huge mistake. These were fucking
mercenaries.
Yeah, why the fuck would you include them, right?
And some of them.
I can understand. We want to include the local population, but if these people are fucking mercenary warlords, why the fuck are you bringing them into the government? That's ridiculous, right? So
you don't have to use your troops to fight the war. They can use their troops.
Yeah, so it could just be the case that it could work, but we've just done it the wrong way over and over and over again in this region and in South America. But I don't think I don't think it's worth the price to us, monetary. And I really don't think it's worth the price of the rest of the world. So my is that this could easily lead to another decade of resurgence of terrorist attacks, resurgence of a refugee crisis, resurgence of various militant groups all over the fucking Middle East fighting to fill the vacuum, and like all this fucking death and bloodshed does not see. It's not. It just isn't worth the. Well, maybe gay people can get married right now. I don't give a fuck about that, to be honest with you.
Sure.
Like that's.
That's the efficacy.
We're in a loop.
The efficacy has always been the hardest part for me to move past, and I'm not confident that there is a solid enough plan. But I think what Ali is saying, and I can point to, I think Chile is actually much better off due to U.S. intervention when you look at it now compared to the rest of the countries in South America, compared to where it would be. So I think that you have examples of other areas of the world in which U.S. Involvement and U.S. influence has.
This is
made
true of
things
Britain
better.
too. Right, like every country that was a former British colony is just vastly superior to countries nearby
that were French colonies or Spanish, especially Spanish colonies. Yeah, absolutely, that's 100% true. So, but what Ali is saying is, what if it is? At least I think, obviously, correct me if I'm misstating something. Is that it seems like in the Middle East there are deep-rooted cultural traditions and loyalty towards clans and families that are very deeply entrenched, and there's a religious component to this as well that's very deeply entrenched, and we just didn't have to deal with that, even though Japan had some like some quasi-religious stuff going on too with the emperor and all that. We just didn't have to deal with it in the same way when it came to Taiwan, South Korea, Japan. We just didn't have to deal with it in the same way, and that it could be that the Middle East is just more impervious to democratization.
They're more unified. They're more unified, right? So Japan, Taiwan, all these things they're very separate, right? They're separate nations. They had separate clans. The Middle East, there's the divide of like Sunni Shia, right? But there is this unity of like they are all Muslims. So I think the idea of one, they have a pretty long, like the Middle East has the longest history, right? One of the longest histories. So like this is unified. Combined, like as a people, right?
No, that's the cradle of civilization. Yeah,
there's a people that's
like Iran has been
so when you have the West,
somebody needs to Google Gobekli Tepe.
Yeah, when you have the West, or like
I think Babylon was pretty.
Fuck, that's in Turkey.
I think Babylon was pretty old. I'll give this to Ali. Okay, I think that's fair.
You have the West, you have like Western Christian or like secular degenerate nations coming in and trying to like fix things in the Middle East. Yeah, it's like people they're not gonna be receptive to that, right? That's like that's the whole idea.
Can I counter that? Because like listen, I'm very much in agreement with Doobie and Lactoid here, right? That there is no fucking plan. It doesn't seem to be financially worth it. Doesn't seem like the juice is worth the squeeze.
You're in agreement
a
with
step
me too,
further. Then. I'm a step further than all of you in that I don't think that the U.S. government is justified in any war ever, because the U.S. government itself isn't justified. That being said, I do think if we're just going to look at the reality, as far as I can tell, that Iran is unique when we are talking about the people, when we are talking about the culture, and we are talking about comparing it to the rest of the Middle East. It is very similar, I would say, obviously vast differences in some ways, right? But very similar in terms of like their maybe capacity towards Western values to like Turkey, right? Where there are obviously different like we don't know what percentage of Iran is Muslim, right? The best we have is like secret fucking polls that have like somewhere to like 32 to 37% of them are Muslim, with the rest of them being either Zoroastrian or just atheist and secular. But Iran has a lot of people in it that have lived under a secular Western democracy before, right? And Iran is likely not, maybe it is, but is likely not a majority Muslim country. And so I'm against this. I'm against this intervention. But I do think it's important to recognize that tactics that worked in Asia that did not work in the Middle East might work in Iran. Right, there is a different culture there, a different, right, but for all of the same reasons that you listed, that the Middle East is very resistant to Western influence. I think Iran might not be the case in some of those.
Iran's
I think it does have some of those. I think it might be.
I hear
that
what
would
you're
be
saying.
my point
That's a
here,
fair-
and that's
that's a
the
fair
whole
argument.
reason why, like in most cases, I would be totally on you guys' side. I'd be like, we shouldn't be doing this. We shouldn't be intervening. We should keep to ourselves. We got enough problems at home. But in this case, I think the Iranian people, and that's why I've said from the beginning of this, I stand with the Persian people, right? Because people want this to a certain
We're
extent.
missing a piece here. I hear you guys, right? Sorry, Scott. I think you're making a convincing case. Like my problem is I don't know enough about like the Persian region.
I certainly don't fucking trust Trump to do it, right? Like my case is just about like could it work?
You have a good point. It's just who's going to be the one handling it?
Hold on one second. No, but it's more. It's a little bit more than that. A little bit more than that. So again, I don't know enough about the Persian region. However, I'm going to go with what you're saying, right? It sounds convincing to me, right? Okay. So going with that though, you're forgetting another piece. So in Japan, we win, slaughter them, drop actual nukes, but we can be trusted with nukes, but Iran can't. Anyway, we drop actual nukes on them, and we impose this system, and we end up with great outcomes. Fair, right? Mm-hmm. But what we didn't have in Japan is China, right, or some other like antagonistic power, right, like vying for power within their system.
Agreed.
Right? That would benefit. Yeah. Okay, great. So
also the geography, right? Japan is an isolated island, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
And China was not.
No weapons
had its own
into there.
Right. Yeah. Right. China had its own internal conflict between the budding communists and the nationalists in China, right? When we look at Iran is like 6 times larger than Iraq, shares a border with many influences and many ways to smuggle in terrorist activity, weapons, whatever it is, from many different directions, or smuggle out, right? It also has diverse regions in terms of climate, right? Where people are separated in terms of culture and ideology just based off of where they live, right? Like, so there are a lot of challenges that exist in Iran that do not exist in Japan. I am simply stating as devil's advocate against my own position, which is I don't think it'll fucking work. That like the culture there is different and the religiosity is different.
Also, several of the Gulf states have come out kind of on the side of Israel and the U.S. and the Gulf states have been telling.
We might have influence from UAE, Kuwait. There are other players in the region that might help us modernize.
No, but that's the problem.
China's a big player in Iran, that's a big deal.
Problem.
It is, and they've not said
you're saying we got buy-in from the Gulf states, but that's the problem. They got buy-in from the Gulf states who are all puppets of Israel, who are all signing the Abrams Accord, who have all tried to undermine Iran for the get-go.
Well, yeah, now you have the Sunni Shia thing going on.
China and Russia,
just because they happen to share
a good point, but
just because none of that, hold on, that doesn't matter. Hold on, not to the point that I'm making. Just because they share a religion, right? Well, mostly, right? I don't know the demographics that our friend Scott's talking about, but anyway, still, just because they share that doesn't mean they have their interests, right? They have their own power plays, just like Iran. Just like Iran had its own power plays when it was like intervening in Iraq. During when America was invading, right? They wanted to neutralize the Iraqis. They wanted to put a favorable government within Iraq to undermine what the U.S. was doing. Again, another confounding factor into this, right? And so why I'm saying the confounding factor into this invasion is Israel. Is the Abrams Accord that actually sabotages this whole thing, and we're not actually dealing with that.
Wait. To Scott's point.
Yeah.
In the region, right? Like if Israel and the Sunni countries are signing the Abraham Accords, right? Because that's what seems to be happening is the Sunni majority countries are signing the Abraham Accords. Then them assisting in taking out Iran is like more. It's beneficial to them, right? Because like. They don't share, although they share a religion.
Of Iran, that's why I don't care if it's
they do, but
no,
it's
not beneficial to the people of Iran. No, it's not beneficial for the.
That's what I was talking about. So
because everyone forget. Well, we're
creating a democracy. If we're going to undermine that, that's what I'm saying.
The UAE and the Sunni countries that run under theocracies themselves aren't going to sit here and let a secular, right? They're not going to want a secular nation in that would be around. They're not going to want a Christian nation that would be around. They're not going to want a Zoroastrian. They're going to want still a Muslim nation, right? Which is now going to
Exactly.
conflict with Israel's issue, which is they don't want another Muslim nation, especially one the size of Iran.
Israel doesn't, and Israel especially doesn't want a democracy. They're going to pretend like they do, right? But they don't want a democracy, because a democracy of the people of Iran, right? What they're going to vote for is always against Israel's interest. Is always, I mean, they already support like assisting the Palestinians, right? That's a big reason why the Israelis wanted to invade in the first place, because Iran, through its proxies, has been supporting the Palestinian cause, and that's a big fucking no-no. So there is no way that, like, after this, right, the Israelis are going to sit by and let an actual democracy get in place, because that sabotages the whole point of it in the first place. They need a viceroy. They need a viceroy.
I'm just throwing this out here because we're at the end of the conversation, anyways. But there's a really good book, "The Shia Revival" by Vali Nasser, who teaches at Johns Hopkins, on that I think just like elucidates a lot of. It's an older book now, but like understanding like the Shia distinction and some of the internal cultural politics of specifically and that religion pitting us up. Now, obviously, it's a fucking ex-Iranian, lefty kind of liberal, take on things. But I was just saying it. I think it's a good book.
Sure.
Especially as we're talking politics, in a fucking, and we're going to war with Iran. You want to read up on something. It's a good one.
I just want to make sure
a short read.
Who had their hands up? Doobie Gibbs, did you have anything else to say?
Yeah.
I was just going to add on to Scott's point, which is that Iran did have an elected government, right, before the Shah that we overthrew.
Mm-hmm.
So they did do this on their own, before we fucked it up, right? So it is possible that there are enough people there who remember what that's like and still support that kind of system that would be, willing to push them back to that. So it is possible.
Okay, let's go to.
Wait, when did Iran have a democratic that people can remember? Well, when was this?
Before the Shah.
Yeah, it was right before the Shah.
I don't know necessarily when the Shah was in the 50s, right?
Yeah, it would have been the
60s.
50.
Let me find out.
Okay, yeah. Okay.
Well,
just making sure.
That's a long time ago, actually. They might be dead already. but the point stands.
That's what I was thinking.
He was overthrown in 79.
Yeah, but
That's
before
when
the
Shah
Shah
was
is
overthrown.
Yeah, but we're talking about like a democratic.
That was
Like
in
the Shah was
79.
not democratically elected, right?
No. But so the people that were pre-Shah are going to be few and far between. Like there's not very many of them that are left alive, right? Like these are the same age as like World War II veterans, right? But the thing is that my argument isn't the concept of. I'm saying the concept of democracy is not foreign to their culture, because they grew up in families that might reminisce about it or talk about it, etc. And furthermore, under the Shah, they were still westernized. They were still fairly secular, right? And so up until 79, they have parents and grandparents that remember, going to the beach in bikinis and shit. Like that's very different than like dealing with Iraq.
And driving nice cars and wearing mini skirts and having like.
Well, I mean, the CIA is really fucking good about finding women to push women's liberation in countries, right? And I'm just saying, there's some of these places remember that. You know what I mean? Like,
I'll give Gibbs the final word, and then we'll head out.
Yeah, so y'all actually did the opposite of what I think y'all aimed to do. See, I came in here with the idea that it didn't really matter why we did it, and if something morally good happened or whatever along with it, that's great. But now I'm just of the opinion this is the best case scenario that should happen. They should balkanize. Taliban and the Pakistan war should get worse. The Chinese should spend more money in Pakistan. And Taliban maybe come hit us up for some guns now. And then maybe they cut the water off to Iran. And as they balkanize, some of these factions decide to buy weapons from us. And maybe buy some PMCs to send over there. And then others don't. So then they keep smaller and smaller groups that eat each other over time in perpetuity. And that would be best for America until we conquer them. So, yeah, that's what I hope happens now. I was hoping the morally good option would be convincing. But
these are your party mates,
Y'all convinced me not to want that now.
This is what you sided with.
Yeah, I just
you should have known, right? You should have known. You should have known, buddy.
Okay, last quick question. Well, hopefully quick. Let's see.
You regret
your vote, Lactoid. You regret your vote.
This complete betrayal, like you said at the start, you said it, not me, right? Complete betrayal. Campaign betrayal. now.
No, it's American first. That was always his plan.
Or Donald Trump the second time.
No, but he still decreased government spending, the big beautiful bill. So he's going to rely on that.
No,
And
but
still
this
American
is,
first.
this is
He
I think
didn't
the
do that
biggest.
either.
This is the biggest infraction.
You don't regret your vote yet?
Not yet.
No,
Hey,
you
what would
decrease
it take?
spending. You decrease spending, so it's all good.
I just want to know real quick. Just can you hypothetically,
Still
what
decrease
would it
spending.
take for you to regret your vote? Just like in
If,
a realistic
sure.
answer.
If
Don't
a-
give, you know.
Sure. If a SCOTUS, one of my top issues was judge appointments. If SCOTUS comes up, if a seat comes up, and he picks somebody who I find to be like from an unacceptable school of thought, that'll be it.
Okay, well that'll be fine. Then I think you're safe. I think you're actually quite safe then. All right, so let's we'll end it here. First of all, thanks everyone who participated. This is a lot of fun. Hit the follow button if you're out there. And you found this enjoyable, right? We had a bunch of different opinions here. And I thought it was an overall interesting conversation, except for, like, hey, you're gonna get raped if you go to a Muslim country. That probably was not great. It wasn't great. Or was it my favorite?
When the fuck did that come up?
Oh, you
yeah.
Before you got here.
missed that.
Wasn't here for that.
Yeah.
Pussies, you couldn't wait for the Muslim to be here.
You want to talk about rape? Like, we're good.
Yeah.
Like, don't worry, I have no fear.
I'm good.
I
I want to talk about that.
I didn't love that part. But other than that, it was a lot of fun. So follow the channel on YouTube, Twitch, or Kick. Thank you for my listening library for doing
And TikTok.
previously, and TikTok. You'll know it's my my channel.
Well, if you're
because there'll
promoting
be
Kick,
no
you should
videos.
promote TikTok.
I should, and then
Prime is the
it'll
worst promoter on earth. On
Oh my
earth,
God.
you don't know how to promote you. We
I'm
gotta-
not.
we gotta write a
know it's my
script,
account
no.
because there's no videos on it. I'm not haven't been using it.
So post
Also
some
on Twitter.
video.
It was the last time I tweeted. It was literally last year, the one time when I was talking to Gibbs. When Gibbs and I were going to go on Tim Pool. All right, so
Least
let's.
online streamer ever.
And then before then, it was like I hadn't tweeted for 2 years. But yes, you can follow me on TikTok too. Or sorry, Twitter as well. Anyway. Thanks all. I'm gonna give an outro to all these amazing individuals who are wonderful and beautiful. So yeah, thanks so much, Lactoid. I'm really appreciative of you and your perspective on this. And thanks for at least being quite honest, right? As always, you're always quite honest with your opinions. So yeah.
Yeah, I'm Lactoid. You can find me at Lactoid TV on Twitch, Twitter, and YouTube.
Okay, thank you so much, and thank you, Corey, for being here as well. And making snide comments at Lactoid.
Always a pleasure, and I'll try to never stop doing that, whatever my minimal contributions are. But I still remain unconvinced in terms of my position. I'm still.
Gibbs didn't move you, Corey?
No, he did not. With his "I don't care, just good for America," blah blah blah, and still no surprise. No surprise, still a pedophile protector. That's what I expected. So he fulfilled the prophecy. But I do want to take some time to shed some light on another issue, okay, a very critical issue where maybe a revolution is starting in Canada, where in British Columbia, they announced that they're adopting permanent daylight savings. And I think that is a great thing that hopefully the rest of Canada follows suit. But you can find me on Twitch, Corey Campbell 84, Twitter, X, YouTube, Instagram, Substack, TikTok. It's Corey Campbell. And the Bears, pleasure to meet you. Ali, Doobie, Scott, Gibbs, Lactoid, always a pleasure. Love you, Brian.
Hold on. One second. Maybe I don't like that. My only problem with like permanent daylight savings time is that like it puts us in.
I don't care. It's a bad position. No, you're wrong.
No. But
it's the best outcome, Prime. It's the best outcome.
You're wrong.
It is.
I'm not sure about that, but
no.
There's more sunlight later on. It's definitely worth it.
I don't care. That doesn't matter. That doesn't matter at all. Hold on. But okay. I would love to talk.
Black people need sun too, Ryan.
Let's go to
get your vitamin D.
Gibbs. Like we can just like adjust our schedules, right? And then we'll be aligned with the rest of the fucking world.
Oh my God.
We'll have to have a conversation.
You're on the wrong side of history, Prime.
You're just so wrong on that. Just adjust our schedules. Fucking.
I don't understand daylight saving or not at all.
I'm the wrong one.
The light lasts longer afterwards.
What difference does that make? Okay,
Yeah.
on. Let's go.
You
The
can
time is
cook
the
out
time.
for longer. You can do outdoor activities for longer.
You can still do all
It's
that.
not
No,
Still
you
be alive
can't.
the rest
5:30
of
in
the
the
world.
afternoon.
Yes, you can. Yes, you
Wait,
Prime.
Okay, right. Let's go. Sorry.
Prime.
Let's go.
You guys
to
don't
our
barbecue
friend
at
Greg.
night?
This is more passion than the actual topic.
I don't barbecue at night. No.
I
Oh.
do.
That's a
I
fucking
like
shame, bro.
some
Hold
sunlight.
on. Actually,
Southerner,
hold on,
get
hold
Arab,
on.
baby.
You're out there when it's pitch black, going through
Yeah.
chocolate.
I'm gonna be honest.
I'm
you know,
Lebanese. Yes, we
you-
barbecue.
you
at
might
night
be selling
outside
me
of
the
our
opposite here.
backyards.
that
Yes.
sounds much preferable to having it.
Hold on. You
Beautiful
might.
sunset,
I think
yeah.
you sold
It's
me
an
the
art
opposite here.
form.
I live in Texas.
It's too hot in Lebanon.
I'm
They
not
get
trying
used
to fucking
cooking at night.
during the day, bro. Like it's 1,000 degrees.
bad.
I need the sun to
Yeah.
be down. But if I'm barbecuing for like 12
That's
hours
fair.
straight, like fuck that. I'm sorry that you're a bad cook and not take everything so fast on the grill. I don't want to be outside in the heat.
Well, go ahead, Gibbs.
Yeah, and if you like that take, and many others, Admiral Gibbs everywhere.
You're against daylight savings times, Gibbs?
I don't have an opinion actually. I
don't
just
think it
was saying that to be
matters to him.
facetious. Yeah,
I don't think
Whatever.
it matters to most people.
This matters actually a lot to me.
it mattered like a lot, like in the fucking like before we had phones and
Well,
digital
fundamentally, what
digital
matters most
shit.
to me
Like
is
now,
there's
I
no
don't
time
think it
change
matters at all.
whatsoever. If we're going for one time, like I'm okay with this, but fundamentally, I just want no time
Okay,
change.
great.
Ag would be the ones that would like
Our
matter
friend
the most
Scott.
to. They don't care anymore because it's all digital.
I bet you want us to fucking get on the metric system, you loser.
Let's
Yes,
go.
I do. As a
Like the rest of the
scientist, yes.
world.
Yeah, like that's wrong.
it makes
It would actually
sense.
make sense.
Mhm.
And like decrease like the economic friction, right? Barriers of entry and all that stuff.
Are you saying
But-
that all the
but-
drug addicts and drug
I
dealers
guess
will
I
get better
love
at math?
capitalism
Is
more
that what you're
than you
saying?
do.
I mean,
Okay?
they're already
All right,
great
anyway,
at math.
Let's go to our friend Scott.
I'm Scott. You can find me Fabian Liberty on YouTube or Twitter. I would just say, I like the Shia revival. I feel like people should read it, and I know a lot of you out there only learn anything about the world when America starts bombing it. So now's your opportunity to learn about the beautiful culture of Iran and their love of poetry and the foundation of most monotheistic religions, Zoroastrianism. I fucked that word up. Zoroastrianism. There we go. Check it out.
Check it out. Thanks so much, Scott. Our good friend Doobie, thanks for being here. Really appreciate you as always, friend.
Yeah, thanks for having me. This reminded me of something, right? I think it was like last year. There was a Republican from Georgia, I think, and the topic of like free school lunches came up, right? Because the Republicans were planning to cut the program that provides free school lunches for children in this country.
If only.
Yeah. And what this guy said was like something like, "Oh, a lot of these kids should be working at McDonald's instead, so they can afford their lunches." Just like putting that into perspective, right? Because the cost of free school lunches, right, for the entire country, every school system in the country, I think it was estimated like at $30 billion a year or some shit, right? So then that's too much money to spend. And putting that to context of this conflict, right? The fucking was it Cato or was it I forget which think tank said that if this goes on for like 4 to 5 weeks, which is what they're planning right now in the as like a baseline, right? 4 to 5 weeks of bombing, that's going to exceed like $600 billion, right? Got plenty of fucking money for that, right? But no money for our own people. Like this is fucking, it's crazy to me. Okay, I understand, Scott. You think it's all theft. I get it, but for them, like the fucking like, it just seems topsy turvy to me, right? They will pinch pennies, cut pennies in half to avoid doing anything to better the lives of our people. But as soon as there's someone to bomb, spend all the fucking money you want. Like it's crazy to me. I just don't get it.
For the record,
Also, I'm Doobie.
Taxation is
will
theft.
make up for all of this,
But-
I'm sure.
But also, free school lunch program is just a corporate handout to corporations that are poisoning our kids. So fuck that.
Well, hold on. Well, Michelle Obama went to change that, right? Wanted to have healthier food in our schools, right? Republicans got in the way. Not you. I'm not saying putting this on you. Republicans made a big fucking deal about this for years.
I've never
at
been a
time.
Republican. I've been a Democrat before. I've never been a Republican.
There are European countries that provide this. it's much cheaper per child, and they get far better food. So like it's doesn't make any fucking sense. None of it makes any sense.
Thank you so much for that, Doobie. Much appreciated. Let's go to our friend Ali.
Yeah, it makes a bunch of sense. Doobie, America, they hate the people, right? The government hates the people, and most of these people wouldn't survive without the slave labor that Americans have to put in for these corporations and for the country to thrive and for them to tax us to, like, Scott's point, it is all theft, right? But yeah, that's all it is. They don't care about the kids. They start a war, they get money, they make more money, and then it goes on. So and we just keep voting for these people, which is really the issue. And until Americans realize, Scott, I've always said I'm with you, brother. I've always said I agree with you the most. It's just practicality, right? It's just the practicality of it. Sometimes you got to be a little pragmatic, just a little bit. But yeah,
pragmatism is evil.
You can find me at My Cousin Ali on TikTok and Project Socio on YouTube. Thanks for having me, Prime.
I think we need an army of plumbers in green outfits, to be honest with you.
Is that Sumero thing? I actually don't know what you're.
Oh my God, brother Luigi.
Super Mario Brothers. Luigi.
Yeah, Luigi.
Green outfit plumber. Yeah.
Yeah. That's a Mario reference.
Okay.
Luigi Mangione.
Oh.
Yeah, there we go. We got there.
I'm sorry. I didn't make the jump. No, I know who Luigi is, right? I know who Luigi.
Like, you didn't.
Yeah, we know you know. That's why you figured it out once I said the name.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Look, it's fine. I'm sorry. Let's go to.
Doobie is somehow more careful on the internet than I am.
True. Let's go to our newest edition, Abbers. We really enjoyed having you. I enjoyed having you here. You were fantastic. I love that you really, really wanted to participate, right? And you had a strong opinion. We love people like that. So hopefully you'll come back in the future. I know it's difficult for you because you have a scheduling conflict. But if it works out sometime in the future, we'd love to have you again.
Thank you. You can find me on X at Avers09. You can find me on Twitch at Avers Unleashed, though I'm not there very often. I remain unconvinced that liberating the Persian people from tyranny was a bad thing. So I am going to go enjoy the heme that I made last night. So catch you guys later and celebrate the liberation of the Persian people.
Absolutely.
Today's Rothbard's birthday. Celebrate Rothbard.
I am.
It's Texas' birthday too.
Raid a woman. I'm gonna raid a woman. This woman, I'm not. She, I guess, a mixed race.
Are you sure
Latin,
she's a woman?
Huh?
How do you know? Just assuming gender out here.
What is her? What are
in the big
2026 individual's pronouns?
You know what the spam in the chat when the break comes. Are you a woman?
Oh my God! Please don't.